Well, hi everybody. It's a brand new episode of Wednesday Night Kiki. Let me put my phone down because I was trying to retweet the episode because we're live. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and guess what? So for the next, I don't know, hour and a half, possibly 2 hours. I don't know. It depends on like how long these topics linger and all that good stuff. It might be a long show, it might be a short show. You never know. But regardless of the fact, I know y'all love kikiing with us. So sit back, relax, get your drink, snacks, have a laugh, all that good stuff. Because EJ and I are going to be discussing the latest hot topics, including the latest on Wendy Williams. Yeah, her husband got something to say. And it made me want to dive through the screen and slap the black off of his fake punk ass. But just because you're from Brownsville don't necessarily mean you got, bull balls when you can fuck somebody up. Anyway, so we got the tea on Wendy Williams. We got some stuff I want to talk about. Somebody who was a pioneer in out music by the name of Ari Gold. I want to give my condolences to him and give you a little backstory on when we met and all that other good stuff. And yeah, I want to give us a nice send off to him because he was a trailblazer in the out music community, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. So I want to kind of give you an insight in that. We also got the latest on Britney Spears, and Perez Hilton has a lot to say about what he said about Britney, saying he regrets most of what he said about her. We'll dive into that, as well as Madonna's daughter, Lourdes Leon, is the new face of Marc Jacobs. So we're going to tell a little fashion news. Fashion Week was last week. And so we want to kind of wrap up like our favorites, some of the stuff we like, some of the stuff we didn't like, all that good stuff. So we're going to give our opinions on that. Plus, we're going to talk the infamous Sherry Pie interview on Tamron Hall that aired yesterday and the controversy surrounding that. A lot of people were pissed off at Tamron. A lot of people were pissed off that the episode even happened. And we're going to give our opinions on that. That and a whole lot more. Plus, I did an article earlier today that I really think is really important. So, the rise of OnlyFans and everything that's happened, it's been around for, I couldn't even believe it's been around for, literally, I think this year makes 5 years or 6 years that OnlyFans has been around. So, with, the pandemic happening and it's become more popular and celebrities are jumping on the bandwagon, Tyler Posey, who is from Teen Wolf, and he's done a couple of other projects, has basically stated that it's emotionally draining doing OnlyFans. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And plus, there was a documentary that aired on Hulu. I think it's an ABC production, was on Hulu. So definitely they talked about OnlyFans and that good stuff. So we're going to talk about that and my thoughts on that whole situation. And yeah, then Candy Burris had something to say about T.I. and Tiny and all this drama. I got something to say about her and that damn sex dungeon. So we're going to bring that up and a whole lot more. So without further ado, let's bring him on in. You know him from Host Chat Live every Saturday from 12 to 2 on All Digital Radio Network. Plus, he also has the DCA podcast. And yes, he discussed wrestling and a whole lot more. He's making moves as well as I am in the social media world. So without further ado, let's bring in my sister from another mister, the one and only Mr. EJ Parker. How you? Oh, he got his bug. I got my bottle of water.
Tonight we're giving very much raspberry tea.
I'm not drinking tonight. You want to know something? Now I was thinking about it, and this is why I said I wanted hot cocoa earlier because it was a little chilly outside. Like I went to the store to get me something to eat because I don't know, for some reason it's like I'll cook something, and then after I'm done, I'm like, oh my god, I want outside food. That's been happening a lot lately. Like I bring food to work, and maybe like, you know what, I want Shake Shack today, or I want this, or I want a salad, or I want to go, I want to go right now. I want to get something else. So it's always weird. Like I will make homemade food and try to save money as a way of saving money, and then I'll just end up eating out. It is.
I totally understand that method. Like, it's one of those things. Like you buy the food because you need it, but then you're like, I'd rather just go and order Chinese or whatnot. Actually, I'm craving Chinese.
Can I just say, since I moved to Brooklyn, I have yet to have Chinese food. So
oh my gosh.
So I'm like, I'm waiting until like it starts getting warm, and I'm gonna just explore Bushwick. And I'm giving away my whole set. Look, I ain't give you bitches my address or whatever, but if y'all do see me in Bushwick, just say hi, whatever. I know a lot of people are noticing, wait a minute, he has hair. Because yes, I don't know if you saw my Instagram and my Facebook, but I said I was scalped and I was bald. It's a filter. the Snapchat has a filter where you could go bald and things. I'm not cutting my hair.
Are you still on Snapchat?
Huh?
I said, you still on Snapchat? I stopped snapping.
Well, the type of content I post on Snapchat, yes. People seem to love it.
Excuse me.
So, join my OnlyFans. But we are going to talk about OnlyFans and that whole situation later on, because I definitely want to break it down. I found because I saw this documentary, and I just found it really fascinating, like just understanding. And I know you've been trying to get on me for the longest, even before this season of Wednesday Night Kiki and a whole bunch of other stuff. You were saying, you know what, I need to jump on the line and basically not create an OnlyFans. I just realized what I was about to say. I mean, I made jokes about starting an OnlyFans. I
hope not.
I don't know. I can post somebody's on my Instagram. They want to collaborate with me. I'll look at that message later. What I find fascinating about OnlyFans is like just creating the content and all this. And I remember you were trying to tell me you need to write an article about OnlyFans because there was this whole thing coming out around the time when the Cardi B's and all these celebrities were trying to jump on it. And what does that mean? Does it take away from the original people that were on there who built their foundation from the ground up? And how it may have affected them, and that how does it affect their business, or does it affect what they're doing? So we'll dive into that a little later on into the show. But the first thing we want to do is, I don't know, Dan, anything you want to say before we dive into the topics?
Oh no. I think did a great opening, and I think everyone's waiting and salivating to hear about this Wendy Williams drama, honey. So let's get right to it.
So I know she hasn't addressed it on the show, but I know that Kelvin Hunter, because he kind of just been getting dragged left, right, and center as he should for all of what had happened within the over the years and the infidelity and this and the other. But at the same time, Wendy is partially to blame because she put up with this shit for majority of her relationship with him. Like he literally cheated on her from the moment, like not saying that they met, but she became aware of the cheatations when she was pregnant with Lil Kev and the whole miscarriage situation. So it all started because I guess he and Sharina are still together because on Valentine's Day, he posted a picture of him holding hands with Sharina. It's just a picture of their hands. Wendy's money is definitely paying for them acrylics. And that alimony, honey. She getting them nails right. But anyway, so he posted Queen and Slim ... back at it again, LOL. First of all, and he says, celebrate your queen, elevate your king. Ciao, bye. Number one, Queen and Slim, that's a fucking insult because I love that damn movie. And number two, did you see what happened at the end of Queen and Slim? So you don't want to call yourselves them two. Be my guest if you want the end of what happened.
They got a death wish, honey.
Huh? Okay, literally their scene was literally like how Frankie died in Set It Off. If y'all want to go that far, don't run from the cops. They're gonna shoot you. But anyway, so Wendy's fans got pissed off and basically flooded his the comments section and basically said that the same way you get them, it will be the same way you lose them. Hashtag huge facts. If this queen of yours think for a second that you cheated on your wife the entire marriage and that you don't do it to her, she has got to be a fool. Then on top of that, y'all living y'all best lives off her money. Stop playing. I mean, facts are facts. Because at the end of the day, Wendy's husband was under her employment. Like as a manager, she's paying you. So therefore you're benefiting financially off of your ex-wife's money. And then another one said, but the fact that you played Auntie Wendy for over 10 years, honey, it was longer than that. And then made a baby. I mean, the world is going to be giving you guys side eye as long as you're. And another added, living life with Wendy's money, LMAO, cornball, get your own money. Well, he is, because word on the street is he, I guess, using that alimony money to open his own restaurant, I heard, in Brooklyn. Or I think it's Brooklyn or Manhattan, but regardless of where they put in it, like Mark Daly, Kenya Moore's husband, I'm not eating at any of their restaurants. So I don't care what happens with whatever he wants to launch. He can launch it by all means. I hope you make your coin and do whatever it is that you need to do. But if it comes down to it, I'm not eating at your restaurant. I'm not eating at that cornball Mark Daly's restaurant. So he also went on and made claims stating that Wendy is an unfit mother to their son. And basically, because I'm trying to look, because there's a lot here. He said his mistress saved he and Wendy's son's life. Where was Wendy, though? And it says, despite all the expectations, fans didn't seem to change their views on him and said, her son, he said her son, wow, what a joke. This is the same son who tried to beat you up over the mistress. So if she saved his life, why he hate her and you? And then LMAO added someone else referring to the physical altercation between Kevin and Kevin Jr. Meanwhile, one user was more interested to see Wendy dragging him again on her show. Well, I would hope so, because, you know, I live for the dragation when she be up in that purple chair. See, the fact of the matter with Kelvin is that he's the only one, like, he needs to use Instagram to get his shit out. Wendy has a whole goddamn network behind her. So her platform will always be bigger than yours. And if you didn't see it, because I don't know, maybe I should set up the backstory. So what happened was, there was a time when, a couple of years ago, and I remember she addressed this on the show, but I had heard stories about it, and I completely forgot she addressed this during Hot Topics. But Wendy went and said that her son was introduced to synthetic weed and got caught, like, real,
K2?
like, yeah, I believe so. It might have been that. But which I think we see a lot of these bums out here in the streets, they be smoking that and that meth. Like, it be making you do all kinds of crazy shit. She said he got so caught up in it that they didn't want to have, like, pump him with drugs and this and the other, so they sent him to Honduras to get a little holistic treatment. She said this was around the time when she was doing her comedy tour, and then she was also doing the talk show. And she was talking about this on the show, but now Kelvin is saying that it was him and the mistress that basically took their son to get the holistic treatment, and Wendy was doing whatever. First of all, if this is true, Wendy was home. Wendy was in New York fulfilling her obligations, meaning doing the talk show and the comedy tour as a way to keep money flowing in the family, because clearly she's the breadwinner. What money are you providing because your wife is your boss? So maybe that's what it was. You know, he had control over her in so many ways. The, you know, mental abuse, emotional abuse, according to some, physical, even though she denies it, but I don't believe it. I do believe that Kelvin put hands on her. But she doesn't want people to know that side, because I don't think Wendy likes to sow a side of weakness within herself. Yep. Like, I don't think she knows how to handle anything that has to do with emotion and all this stuff. I mean, she's a Cancer, so I don't think she knows how to handle a lot of craziness that goes on in her life. She likes, you know, that rough, that toxic masculine type of male stereotype. But you got to realize, when you like all of that, the stuff that comes with it, when you picking up them Negroes off the corner, the ones that be hugging the block all goddamn day, and you thinking you gonna play captain to save a hoe? I mean, that's what you're going to do. And he found a way to manipulate her for over 20-something years. She put up with it because she said she didn't want to be a single mother. I mean, there's a such thing as, you know, visitation rights, that sort of thing. But whatever, her decision was her decision. So, yeah, for him to come out and say all of this, I feel like it does make him look even bad, where he's out here implying that Wendy's a horrible mother. And the worst thing you could do is talk ill of a boy's mother, because everybody knows when it comes down to gender, the sons always will gravitate towards their fathers, which I guess is what his child with Sharina do. And so now, as Wendy said, it'd be great if, you know, she gravitates towards her father in that way, but his job and Sharina's job is to keep this thing off the pole.
Okay.
So I don't know. I feel like I said all I need to say about this situation. What do you say?
You know, I agree with everything you said. I think that, you know, he's definitely Kelvin is definitely doing this for some clout. you know, and because he's, like you said, he's obviously using and still, you know, passing off her name, and you know, she did throw well, a lot of shots at him, rightfully so. And you know, I mean, I don't see it getting any better. You know, now that the gloves are off, I see I see him very, you know, more like aggressive towards it. You know, because she basically did that when she did her documentary. Well, the movie and documentary, it painted him not in the best light, and do know a lot, being, you know, when Denise, you know, stands or whatever you want to call it. So a lot of things were missing, but clearly it was enough to trigger him. And they're both still in this feud together, no matter what. They, you know, I think there's a lot of bad blood there. I mean, someone pregnant on her behalf and destroyed the family. The son smoking K2, losing his mind. And I think there's more to that story. Like, one thing we know about Wendy, she covers a lot up because she wants to look strong. Son was definitely going through some triggers and maybe some withdrawals, and which is why they had to get him real serious help. Like, K2 is not a joke. No matter how wealthy you are, it can kill you just like it kill anyone else. So I could see that being a real time, and that's why he's like, you know, you weren't there for him, like, you know, and maybe she wasn't, maybe she was busy, she did what she can, you know. But I don't know, Chris, it's tough, like when you have parents like coming at each other because they both of the secrets, you know. And for your family or stand for Wendy, or, you know, if you're looking at it from Kelvin's perspective, and, you know, she's just, you know, it's like I kind of try to look at this from down the middle, you know, like neutral. And
I feel like you and I both have done a great job of doing that. Like, I'm not like, you know, that I'm not the type of person that will sit. I'm Team Wendy. Like, I've called her out on some shit she's done and said too. And I feel like that's what makes a true commentator or analyst, when you can look at everything from both sides and then come to your own conclusion instead of just being like, oh, well, he's trash. I'm like, no, she's an equal participant. And I've said this numerous times that I'm sick and tired of her always saying, not my fault, not my fault. It always takes two to tango in a relationship. Right. It's a cheatation, a breakup, or whatever it is. There's a part that you played in the reason why he did what he did. Now, I'm not saying that you put a gun to his head and told him to go out and fuck other bitches, but there was clearly something that was going on in your relationship that y'all didn't work out that caused him to go off and just be a mess and do whatever it was that he did. Now, I have another question. So do you think, because we're bringing up this whole thing with Lil Kev, and, you know, Wendy says he's off limits and stuff, do you think that the fact that he started doing this K2 and stuff, that he was aware? Because, you know, Wendy always said, I try to keep so much out of what's going on in his life, and him not knowing what's going on with the parents. I believe Lil Kev was well aware of what was going on with his parents and the fighting and all that other stuff, that maybe the drug use and a lot of the rebellious behavior was a cry for help.
Yes, I definitely can see that. You know, from what I gathered from Wendy, you know, one thing about her, she's honest until she's not. And when she say like she's home looking for the killer, and, you know, her and her cats, like, I believe her, like, you know. And she always said that like she's home alone a lot, like, so clearly, you know, she was home a lot, you know, doing their own thing, like. And I think what happened was that, like, you know, a lot of times with Black families dynamic, like, once someone makes it and, you know, you get into wealth, like, we tend to think that because of the way society, socio-political, socioeconomic, like, money saves us from all problems. And I do agree. I do think that little Kev was going through a lot of issues and didn't know how to express it. And sometimes you run to an escape, and you know, unfortunately, there's a lot of different things out there than just marijuana right now, you know, specifically in the weed, you know, just keep it in the weeds sector. But there's a lot of different things out there. So, you know, you can get hooked on a lot of things, and K2 is nothing to snark at. So I you know, I mean, that's alleged. We're just saying, I mean, she said synthetic. That's the only thing I could think of. But, you know, yeah, I would say that definitely trauma, you know, which is why I think now she's more connected to him, because once the, you know, Kelvin got caught with the baby, I think little Kev obviously drawn close to his mother, and I think that's why they're like this. We saw the stories and like how he stood up for her and he fought the father, and so yeah, definitely a lot of trauma, Chris. And like I said, it's far from over because he has every right to speak his piece, and that's the thing. Like, we live in this world where we want just our favorites to just say what they got to say, but the accused have to have their every right to clap back, and that's what he's doing.
I agree. And on that note, I don't think we have any more to add. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to come back with trending topics and Britney Spears and a whole bunch of other stuff, and Miss Lourdes Leon and fashion stuff. But before we take a break, I just want to give my heartfelt condolences to the one and only Ari Gold, aka Sir Ari Gold. Yeah, he had a bunch of names. He said he was knighted by a queen. He didn't say he was knighted by the queen, but he was knighted by a queen, which is enough for me. But anyway, so for those of you who are not aware, he was a groundbreaking LGBTQ music artist who broke a lot of barriers for a lot of people. He was 47 years old. He died of cancer. How I found out was a friend of mine messaged me on Sunday, like around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I believe. And I'm like, my heart literally fell. Like, I was like, what? And I had to go check. The first thing I did was I checked Kevin Alliance's Instagram because I automatically knew. I was like, wait a minute. If this is true, it would be over there. And lo and behold, there was a whole post. The whole article is on tribe.com. If you guys want to check it out, I put everybody's tributes up there. Everybody from Laverne Cox to Mila Jam to Billy Porter, who once upon a time, Billy Porter from Pose and Ari dated. He was good friends with RuPaul. RuPaul's sent a tribute. What I did not know, and I guess because I didn't read the I didn't read the fine print or whatever the case was, but I had no idea that he was someone who worked closely with RuPaul on Drag Race. So he did a lot of musical collaborations with him. I don't know if it necessarily was for the show or if it was necessarily like Rue's own music that was put in the show, because over the years Rue has been putting out albums and within collaboration or a tie into Drag Race, but they have their song "I'm a Winner" and "Congratulations," and they write songs that kind of are based on words and things that are used on the show, like catchphrases and things of that nature. So
right.
Oh, that's a cute picture of Ari and Mama Rue. But yes, they've known each other, and Rue is definitely a mentor to Ari, and Rue was giving Ari advice, and Ari actually gave Rue advice in regards of talking about how to release your own music independently without the backing of a record label. Because once upon a time, Rue was a part of a record label, a major one, when he released his debut album. And over the years, they look at you as nothing more of a gimmick. If you're not selling enough albums, then they discard you. But then you get to own your own content and this, that, and the third. And he basically taught him how to do all of that, or gave him some pointers on how to do that. And since then, Rue has been releasing his own music via Ruco Records. He also served as a music supervisor and composer on the 2006 documentary Fabulous, the Story of Queer Cinema. He also appeared in RuPaul's movie Star Booty. He has worked with people such as, like I mentioned, Kevin Alliance, Boy George, Shaka Khan, Diana Ross, and Cyndi Lauper. He started out as a child performer. He was someone who sang jingles on a lot of people's, like a lot of those, the Cabbage Patch Kids and things like that. Remember that you hear, like when I was growing up, there were little jingles that would come out for cartoons and things of that nature. He sang back up for a lot of those. So like the Care Bears, things like the other. He's been around for a long time. So he's released 7 albums throughout his life. One of the records that I remember when I first met him, I'll say this. I just want to tell you a little story. I went to the original. Oh no! I went to the original XL in Chelsea, the one that you see in Sex and the City. That
Yes.
All of a sudden all the straight women decided to go to after that freaking episode. So he had an album release party for his album not Transport. It was Space Under Sun. This was like in I think 2004. Yes, Mother has lived. I've been going to clubs since the early 2000s. But anyway, I remember meeting him there. I met one of my best friend, who still was one of my good friends, Rodney. He and I both went because I was like, the first time I saw him, it was on the cover of HX magazine, and I was like, oh my god, who is that? He is hot. So I had to go meet him in person because I found out that he was, I wasn't stalking, but I remember I was like, I had to go. So of course, I went and so I went to XL. He had an album release party for the Space Under the Sun record, which I actually coincidentally saw.
I remember XL.
Mm-hmm. That was a cute one. That was the one that had the unisex bathroom and the fish tank. And nobody uses stalls to actually go to the bathroom. That was where you powdered your nose. If you know what I'm saying, I think you do. But oh yeah, so that bathroom was everything. Like I just lived for that place. But then I hated when they shot Sex in the City there because I felt like it just took away from our little thing. Even though it was, I'm sure they made a little coin allowing them to shoot there. But anyway, nevertheless, so I met him there. I went and got an autograph, hung out, listened to the album, drank, and he and I had a little brief conversation. And I remember because he had on like this green one-piece jumpsuit. I remember like it was yesterday with a little hat on. And he bought me a drink. It was like nobody else in there, but he was nice enough to buy me a drink, and we had a conversation and started talking briefly about some. I don't even remember what the conversation was, but I just felt like when people say that he was a kind soul, that he was someone who was very generous and someone who was just very open and unapologetically him, they weren't lying. So to me, it's like you see such a kind, beautiful, gentle soul who just left us and was just unapologetically himself and was a pioneer in a way where he was putting out queer content and speaking about same-sex love before it was even a thing. And this was like 20 years ago. So seeing someone who did that, so it wasn't to me, if it wasn't for someone like Ari Gold, there would be no Lil Nas X. There would be no who else? Frank Ocean, or someone who was immediately out but pushing through into the mainstream. So he's done a lot, and his music, and he is a white boy who does R&B and pop music and is real about it. He's not a culture vulture like a Justin Timberlake and or Robin Thicke or a lot of these other white males that come out and only want to jump on the bandwagon when they want to sell an album or because it's easier for them to push. He was someone who was talk the talk and walk the walk. So he is definitely someone who will be missed. He was 47, as I said. He passed away of cancer. Cancer sucks. And his contribution to music would definitely not be forgotten, but he was one of the good ones. And so, everybody from Laverne Cox to Peppermint, everybody Laverne, everybody's had something to say about it. And if you definitely want to check out the rest of the article, you can definitely head over to tribe.com. It is there. You can read about it, like it, do all the good stuff. R.I.P. young man. Even though he's older than me, young man. Yeah. But yes. So
I'm sitting there listening to you and trying to scratch my brain and like trying to figure out have I ever got the chance to meet Ari Gold? And unfortunately, I'm gonna say no, but I did get the wonderful opportunity to work with the formerly now known Next magazine, and he was very popular in the publication. We publication a lot of times on the front cover, a lot of interviews with Ari Gold. I believe I probably was in the same room with him many times. We had our events every month called I forgot what it was. It was called the next something. I forget what it's called. But anyway, we had like monthly network type thing, and I remember seeing him come through one of the events. We had a lot of big bros come through, and that was my first time getting into the LGBT core of it all. Not really realizing the whole stratosphere of us, in New York City, just recently coming out of the closet and finding my voice. So, but I remember Ari Gold very vividly. I remember him and Peppermint, doing the things and having the event XL at, all the clubs that used to be around Splash and all the places that we all went to at frequent, Crash. Like it just, it brought back memories listening to you and the culture and running to Virgin Megastore and looking for, all that stuff we used to do back in the days when I guess normal, if you will, and everything went online and stuff. But, so he's definitely going to be missed. you know, he died way too soon. Cancer sucks. You know, I know a lot of people who unfortunately passed, and you know, his music will live on. You know, his legacy will live on. I don't even think, just like you said, I don't think he even knew how beloved he was. And unfortunately, you know, when people are no longer here, we tend to pour out all of these emotions. I think it's a lesson that we all should do that now while we're here, like to someone that you haven't spoken to, like, you know, because life is too short. And just another reminder
Absolutely.
that you gotta live your life to the fullest, you know, and
Yeah,
that
that's one of the things that he
Ari
said.
actually.
That's one of the things he said too. But go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, Ari, he did that. He you know, lived his fullest, and that's all. That's all I was saying. Like, you know, it's just a testament to who he was as a person, which is what we're seeing all these people give, you know, their love. They wouldn't do that for just anyone. You know, if he was a horrible person, nobody would be saying anything, you know? So
Yeah, because I was surprised at that. Like when I was looking online and stuff, I was like, okay, so on Sunday when the news came out, nobody wrote about his death and that sort of thing. So I was like, okay, let me just get on there, and I wrote a little something Sunday. Like the minute I heard about it, all I knew was that whole cancer, and I just wanted to celebrate his life and contribution to music, and just post up what a lot of people were saying. And then throughout the days, I would go back in and I would add those tributes because I wanted to be a full article. So it's like I would add like the Billy Porters and the Neela Jams and all these other people that are in our community. And I feel like we need to celebrate and support a lot of our artists instead of always being so quick to go to, you know, I love my Madonnas, I love my Janets, I love this, that, and the other. But we also need to support our community as well, because these people are out here taking a risk, trying to create content for us, by us. And we, you know, you have a right to like who you like, but and it really surprised me that I would see like Rolling Stone and all these other people writing art. I'm like, y'all even knew who Ari Gold was? So it's always surprising when you see the mainstream publications are picking up on this story, because any other time, like I always think the way that mainstream media acts, where they don't want to include us in a lot of situations, then when we're dead, all of a sudden you want to write an article for clicks and likes. So it always surprises me when the mainstream publications want to pick up on stories about people who are trailblazers in so many ways, but y'all like to ignore us and don't want to give us the opportunity to kind of puncture through into the mainstream. So, I mean, it's cute that you know, the Rolling Stone picked up on that, but yes.
I agree. You know, but also I think we have to look at it as like, I mean, definitely is the glass half full. You know, we always have room to grow and work to do with that issue. But I see it differently. I see it as like, you know, respect and homage, and you know, I mean, it also shows his reach. Like, you know, he was someone who, like you say, he worked with RuPaul. You don't work with RuPaul and you're just a thumb on the wall. Like, you don't get where Ari Gold got and worked as hard as he got to get where he has got. And you know, for Rolling Stone is strictly pop culture, music, you know, a little bit of fashion, stuff like that. They stay true to their aesthetic, so it makes sense that a Rolling Stone would write about it. Now, if the Huffington Post did something, then I'm like, okay, I don't know, girl. But you know, Rolling Stone is definitely in that realm. No, because I understand you. Like, I kind of feel the same way when it comes to like professional wrestling and like TMZ is covering it, and I'm like, wait, girl, Tia Lang. So I totally get it. But you know, it just it's the reach, you know, and yeah, I definitely want to take some listen to his songs. Like, I haven't listened to them in a while, you know. But now that he's gone, I definitely want to take the time and like you said, support him and whoever is in control of his estate. I'm sure his family, you know, just support them, because you're right, he's not a mainstream talent, and he's not going to be on Hot 97, Z100, or you know, I'm sure, you know, we have the outstations and stuff that would play him, you know, but that, you know, mainstream wise, I think we all need to do our part. You know, Spotify is on our phones. You know, we can all just at least download the album, and he has some really good bops. You know, even if you just want to listen to a single.
Music, so yes, you're right.
Absolutely.
So on that note, we'll be right back with more of Wednesday Night Kiki right after this very gay break.
Yep.
Story.
Be right back. All right, guys. Finding Stories is next.
She does get the help that she needs. I mean, I know Sunny says that, this conservatorship should not be able to get out of it because no one has ever done it. But like I always say, there's a first time for everything. So maybe she will get out of it.
I agree. I mean, the reason why is never been, challenged is no one ever challenged it. So it's not that it can't happen. It's just there's no record in the law that shows that it's possible. But like everything, no one said. People said Obamacare and gay marriage impossible. You just gotta have the right case. The right people put the right case out there. I mean, clearly she's cognitive, so it's not like she's let me. I don't know. I can't even think of anyone, but she's not an imbecile. She can't. She could think for herself, basically. So.
Exactly.
Whatever the kind of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
No, whatever the father is trying to do is clearly has to do with. I think the father really wanted to. I think that's what it was. I don't even think it has anything to do with mental health because clearly. I mean, okay, yeah, she according to the documentary, clearly was dealing with some postpartum depression, which obviously is very common for new moms. So
after they have children,
right? So the media obviously
and
took
people realize you forget what the feeding of the umbrella came from and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the media got the best of it. So and that's just kind of how it snowballed from there.
Yeah, because the paparazzi pissed me off too. They were like, "Oh well, we didn't know that she was going through so much because she didn't say anything." I'm like, you couldn't tell by her fucking language? Like, are you dumb? So to me, I'm like, you guys were not interested in her mental. You didn't care about.
This is for faggots.
Guys, we are back, but real quick, let's get to this week's Trending stories.
Slow News Week? Never. Here are this week's most trending stories. And we're kicking it off where we left off last week. Apparently, the gig is up, and Justin Timberlake has responded. Following the backlash from the hashtag Framing Britney documentary, and he has a whole lot, and I mean a whole lot, to say about the pop and his long overdue apology to Janet Jackson. Do we invite him back to the barbecue or not? Asking for a friend. Moving right along, we have one of the most infamous and messiest RuPaul Drag Race queens ever. Yep, Sherry Pie was a special guest on the Tamron Hall show, and baby, did it spark some conversations. Some good and some just ugly. We're going to talk about it. Then, unfortunately, we have another Gorilla Glue girl. Yeah, you heard that right. There's another one. Only less than a week after the original Gorilla Glue girl came to light. Now we have a hashtag Gorilla Glue challenge. Lord Jesus, take the wheel, honey. And finally, hashtag Bachelor Nation is in full effect. Following the breaking news of one of the contestants, that named Rachel, was an outright full-blown racist Confederate daughter? She was caught pictured at a Southern antebellum plantation, and that's not all. Even after host Chris Harrison put his foot in his mouth with the black Rachel, we now have more evidence of the racist Rachel's past, and it's not pretty. Plus, was she the only one? Well,
Well, damn. Welcome back to Wednesday Night Kicking Child. I have to say, that was a good one. That trended top. I'm like, I was over here hollering. I was like, oh, that's good. Jesus, take the wheel. I was living for it.
Yes.
But I said, what we gonna talk about first? Because what was it? You said it was that one. We got the Sherry Pie. We got the Bachelor. I can't believe this. Like, I'm not surprised by this at all. I'm gonna say for the longest, we can just talk about The Bachelor and just breeze on by that one because I don't watch The Bachelor. Personally, I don't understand why people say, "Oh, inclusion." We want to be a part. Who? No real black people want to be a part of no damn Bachelor. They can keep their little white show. Like, anybody watching that trash? I don't care about. I do live for Rachel Lindsay speaking out against Chris Harrison and a lot of the buffoonery that's going on the show. I do like the fact that she has a platform to speak out. That I live for. But they got this cornball on here this season that's picking these girls, and then he goes and pick a Confederate daughter. Like, I'm not surprised by that. I feel like black people have already made up their mind before the moment they found out that they were getting a black bachelor, what type of girl he was going to pick. The show's not over. We don't necessarily know how the outcome is, but statistics show when you get these, these black men that kind of come across like this guy. I'm not saying every black man got to be a Tyrone or a Taekwon or a Rayshawn. I'm not saying they got to be that type of, or Pookie, or they ain't got to be one of them stereotypes. But when you're a black man who they feel like has been get outed, and you basically, your true spirit is floating in a sunken place, this is the type of girl that you're going to pick. So I'm not surprised by any of this that's happening. I could give two shits about The Bachelor. That show, the entire genre, everything about it is trash. I don't get the ratchetosity of it all, that type of humor. Like, my thing has always been I Love New York, Flavor of Love. Like that was my Rock of Love with Bret Michaels. Like that was the type of ratchetosity I like. I don't care particularly for like The Bachelor because I always feel like the stunts on there is so fake that I get behind it. People that they pick on these shows are really interesting to me because they have yet to give us in our community our own type of show. Yeah, we had that trash that was on Logo with what was it? Robert Sepulveda? Remember that show? That horrible ass show? But y'all was spending more time trying not to offend gay people that show turned out to be a big ass bore. Because Quiet as It's Kept, they would have been a lot more interested if the contestants was all fucking each other. That would have been more entertaining instead of sleeping around with this mess. That was the Bachelor of that season, where Quiet as It's Kept, how he got that position was because he was screwing one of the producers. One of the executive producers, because you know in real life she's a prostitute. Now we don't have issues with prostitutes, but when you messy, I mean we're gonna bring it up on this show. So yeah, I don't know what your thought. What are your thoughts on the whole? I mean, you alluded to it, but what are your thoughts about this whole Bachelor situation? Because you know I love the fact that they're bringing this up and the fact that Chris Harrison is like, "Oh, I'm temporarily stepping down." Honey, step all the way down, like right. Your old ass host of this show. And I'd find it more insulting if they put somebody black as the new host. It's like, okay, now don't do that. Because it just feels like it's put on rather than a natural progression.
Right. I am kind of a little bit. Well, I'm definitely on team Rachel, like Lindsay, that is the black one. If we have to break it down for everyone, I think Chris Harrison put his foot in his mouth. I think The Bachelor kind of, you're kind of right with the whole analogy about we saw this coming. Right now it's looking like a hot mess, and we knew it was, from the way it was being produced and how long it took black anything on there, and I Rachel Lindsay and saying that she can't take it no more. Like neither can I can't take it as a viewer. Like and I like Matt, he's chiseled, he got looks, and me and my man, we Google him every morning looking at him, and like he's good looking, but unfortunately
he just seems boring to me.
Right, that too. And unfortunately, like, I feel like the show set him up for disaster because this stuff is already taped, and Chris Harrison knew what was going to happen, and so he's executive producer, so your job is to create media. So it's like, and now like you just said, you got a guy who basically is going to go for another girl. I mean, this girl who happens to be a racist. And apparently last night he eliminated a popular girl who happens to be, she was deaf, and she was popular on the show. He eliminated her, and people are upset that he took her home, eliminated her, but then the racist Rachel was still there. And the way it's looking like, according to
not to cut you off, but the best part I think for the deaf girl, the best thing about her, she ain't got to hear him speak. So that's I guess one of the greatest perks about her not being able to hear. She ain't got to listen to his annoying ass voice. But go ahead.
No, you're right. And then there was also some other stuff. Like another girl came forward. They found another white contestant on with the Confederate flag on her jacket. And apparently watching TMZ, they said that Kanye West wore the same jacket, so y'all could take that with a grain of salt. And then now we got everyone coming out of the woodwork after the whole Rachel Lindsay situation. But let me find the picture so we can kind of break that down a little more and go over everything. So, quick, she put this, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this is what Rachel, the racist one, the one that got caught. Oh, wait. Oh.
But I was like, wait a minute, are we doing my because that's one of the
my bad, y'all.
I'm gonna say that's one of the sound bits I use in my podcast every Saturday on All Digital Radio, or you can find me on Stitcher and iTunes and stuff.
Ooh, Raven, stop laughing. Okay.
Yeah, what does it say? Because the
So
mic is a
yes.
little small.
Yeah, so basically, but that's just a screenshot there, but she did make an apology and basically saying like this is not who she is, da, 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 da. And as you guys can see right there, circled in this picture, right here, Southern Antebellum. And for those that do not know about the Southern Antebellum plantations, it is something that goes down in the South. Obviously, this is people who not want to let go of the Civil War, did not want to be part of this country. They decided to cause one of the original insurrections way back when to go against this country. And since then, they have raised purely white children who live in this fallacy of the Confederacy. And these people, their whole purpose is to bring it back from the dead. And clearly we're trying to keep, so that's the tea. And like I said to you pre-show, I'm over giving these racist, people their chances to grow. Like she's she's grown, she's a grown woman, go in your own time, but don't sit there act like you don't know what you were doing. This is 28, and that was the whole situation with Chris Harris and Rachel Lindsay. He went on Extra to kind of show face and stuff, and basically this Rachel Lindsay here, he went to her show, not that racist you there. He went to the show and Rachel said this to him here. Let me move right here. But Rachel said basically to Chris was like, it's not a good look ever celebrating the old South. If I went to that party, what would I represent? So then Chris goes and responds back to Rachel.
They would call her all sorts of coons. She'll sell out. She just said that would be what black people would do if she was seen at a party like that, at a celebration like that. White people probably wouldn't have said nothing because white people love when we sell our soul to the highest bidder in order to get along and be along with that. Like we've seen it happen time and time again with people like T.I. and Kanye West and Candace Owens and who was the other one with the queen with the list that was on The View last week that was crying foul? Van Jones. We see it time and time again with a lot of these sunken place Negroes that are willing to sell their soul for a little clout. And if Rachel would have went to that party, it would have been an issue. But I'm sorry to say, but I'm sick and tired of people. We need to give them the benefit of the doubt. And what I'm glad she gathered his ass, and so many people online gathered his ass. He said, was it a different or a problem in 2018 or 2021? That was 3 years ago. 3 years is a whole difference. Like I said this, if it happened in like the 90s or the 2000s and stuff, that's different because pre-internet, internet was on the verge of what it was, and the times were different in those days. We tolerated a lot of ratchetness in television and media, and it wasn't a problem.
Well,
2018 was the dawn of Trump, and the social media and all that other stuff existed in those times. 3 years is not a big, it is a problem. It's not because it was 2018 or is it 2021?
That's the thing. Like that's the thing, Chris. Like it's. People they want to sweep it under the rug, and I'm not with this whole situation where because you hit a good point when you said like if it was 1999, internet back then, but even so, it's never a good look. Like Rachel said, like it's never a good look, period. And I think we as society, like we have to keep ingraining this in their heads because they're so used to getting away with it. Someone said something really excellent on this political show the other night, saying that like they have never been held accountable. That's the first insurrection in this country. They have never been held accountable. White supremacy. So what do you think of these children growing up just like Chris Harrison, who's 50 old, a grown-ass man talking to a black one like that on television? You think he would have spoke like that to Bush? Of course not. So and Rachel's not stupid. She's not going to show up at some damn Southern antebellum because she's smarter than the average. We need to know our history, and so do they. And they need to own it, and they don't want to. And I don't want. And if you don't want to, then I don't want to. Get out my face.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel.
You know what? I really wish I could be one of these oblivious ass white folks who could just walk around completely oblivious to things in the world, not have to worry about getting up in the morning without the fear of getting shot. I mean, those are things I don't have to think about. Although when you live in certain areas, you do have to worry about bullets flying past your head when you're growing up in certain parts of New York. But I wish I could just sit and think about, but you know what? I could just go to that antebellum party and not have to worry about any backlash. Or I could just storm the Capitol and not have to worry about getting arrested or shot at, even though, and then when I get shot, I'm shocked that they shot at me. Oh no, you shoot Black Lives Matter protesters. You shoot those people. You don't shoot us, because they're aware of their privilege. I wish I had the privilege to just be able to just walk through life without a care in the world like white folks do. So I'm glad that now we're at a time where, Me Too, Time's Up, all of these things are happening, and this pandemic has allowed people to finally be like, you know what, enough's enough. We're not going to allow you motherfuckers to get away with your bullshit anymore. We're going to call you out and we're going to drag you. And if the society's not going to deal with you, we'll just crucify you with social media. So social media has its perks. Speaking of privilege and accountability, I guess we could talk about Justin Timberlake's apology.
I want to get to that. I just want to. You have James and the rest of the crew. They are behind Rachel Lindsay, Taisha, the recent black that came in with the other girl this last season. They've been doing so many. I'm confused too, but they're all standing behind Rachel Lindsay. Amidst the controversy. Shout out to Us Magazine for that. And they also write, the word is who's going to replace Chris Harrison, because even though the Bachelor's been taped already, the rose ceremony is fine. So that's the thing. Let's hope that Disney, ABC does the right thing and put someone black in there, because but go ahead.
But you said you hope they put somebody black in there?
Yes, I hope Disney and ABC do what they got to do.
Yeah, but it's like what I said earlier. I mean, if they do, it does kind of like, it makes it kind of seem like, oh, well, because of what happened, now let's just pick some black person and throw them in there just for the sake of, because of what happened with Chris Harrison. So it kind of comes across like that. But if they do, I think, you know who would be a really interesting, like I'm thinking, who would be a good choice? I was thinking Sherry Shepherd, if they do pick somebody black. Or because she loves The Bachelor. She always talked about it when she was on The View. Or I was like, you know what, maybe, what make it interesting? Niecy Nash. I like Niecy Nash. I think Niecy Nash has that bubbling personality, but she's gonna be busy temporarily replacing what's his name on The Masked Singer. Because he had COVID. Okay. Nick Cannon. So she's supposed to be doing that. So I don't know. She might be. I mean, by the time the whole Nick Cannon, his whole social distancing thing happens and he gets cleared of the COVID and all this stuff, she'll probably be free to film the reunion or whatever the case is. Or if they don't, if they want to go a little different, I'm like, wait, what about Jeannie Mai from The Real? I mean, she was just on, she just did something with ABC. She just did Dancing with the Stars. She had to bow out because she had a life-threatening surgery that she had to have happen, I guess, on her throat. So yeah, it'd be interesting if they kind of went in that route. Maybe I think it'd be interesting, like if you did a Bachelor reunion or whatever Bachelor base, they hire a woman to host it. I would like to see that, because women are clearly the demographic, and they need to get rid of that male misogynistic, racist, whatever case crap that's been going on with that. So they need to kind of remove the stench of Chris Harrison from the show.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's executive producer. It's not going to happen overnight, but I do think Noah's probably going to go with someone who's already on contract, and it'll probably be, if we're talking about women, it'll probably be either Rachel or probably someone that we're not thinking of. I don't think they're going to go too far and get like a celebrity. That would be nice, but this is Disney we're talking about again, so you just got to take it with a grain of salt. But I think
Yeah, I agree with. I think it would be nice if they actually brought someone from the Bachelor world as a host, because I've even said that for RuPaul's Drag Race. Like, instead of y'all always trying to grab a Nicki Minaj or a Lady Gaga or somebody big and famous, why aren't you bringing back some of the favorite drag queens from the show who you know will never do All Stars and have them come and sit on the panel and be a judge, like, or have some like kind of still keep within the family, because the show pretty much gave them a platform to go on to the next level. So why not bring have Rachel Lindsay host it? That'd be a good idea too. And a slap in the face to Chris Harris.
They got some. Oh, he did it. He did it to him like Park Karen. They do it.
Oh, please don't even.
I'm not. I have no listen.
Don't even remind me about the whole Central Park Karen situation and you know,
right,
the buffoonery behind that, because that, I'm like, she was cleared of all her charges. Fix it, Jesus.
Thank you. Anyway, because she took some racist, like, Taboo, put your racist tears in a jar and suck it.
Oh, so wait, so you go to you take a course on how not to be racist 101, and then all of a sudden you're cured and you get charges dropped. I wish it was that simple for us. Whenever we do criminal things, shout out somebody, I'll take a class and clear my charges and drop them all. I wish it's so simple for white women. Don't you just love it? I mean, shout out to all the white people out there that's doing the right thing and not being wrapped up in buffoonery. You know, there's a lot of y'all out there that aren't caught up in this matrix. But for the rest of y'all can choke on a bag of dicks. But anyway, speaking of accountability, let me do that segue again.
She's talking about suing now too.
Suing who?
So it's not. I don't know. Central Park. She said she's suing everyone. Because she's been damaged. I don't know. It's not over.
She could sue these nuts in her mouth. How about that? So that's what she could do, bitch. But anyway, so Britney Spears. We want to talk about Perez Hilton. Well, yeah, we do want to talk about Perez. Timberlake gave a long ass goddamn apology.
Yes, he did. He froze.
Come on. Are we here? Can you hear me?
You back?
Oh, I don't know what happened. Like all of a sudden, you know, internet. It's a bitch sometimes. But oh Lord, not that outfit. But speaking of what we talking about, okay, so because I was trying to fix the connection.
All right. So we're trying to get Chris back here. Okay, we're back. Oof.
Oh, I was saying, wait, I'm here. I'm still here. Shout out to Tisha Campbell for that song. But anyway, so yeah, he gave an apology and stuff, a long ass one. I don't know. Let me start it over. Okay, so reverse. So you know, he went and gave a whole speech or whatever that he put up on Instagram. It was 2 pages worth. I want to Google it and look it up. You'd be my guest. I'm not gonna sit here. Or you go on his Instagram and check it out and leave your comments and like and or dislike or whatever the case is. That unfortunately don't have a dislike button over at Instagram. But yeah, he basically talked about how sorry he is and this, that, and the third, and how one of the things I did like the fact that he said that the industry, particularly the entertainment industry, plays a role in it's set up for men, particularly white males. He should probably point out that, you know, this industry also has things in it like MK Ultra and, you know, the brainwashing and child molesters and perverts and pedophiles, all kinds of these people that be floating around in here waiting to take advantage of your damn kids, which is why I chose not to be a child star, because you wasn't dealing with my asshole without my permission. So, and I wasn't sucking nobody's dick to get no career. So I was like, let me just do it myself and create content and do all the things I'm doing. And I'm going to do it the right way. I'm not bringing my knee pads to every meeting, unlike some of you pop stars out there with your millions of dollars and all the crazy things that, you know, the machine that had to be put behind you. At the end of the day, you're unhappy and depressed, but you got a whole bank full of money. So yeah, so he said a whole bunch of stuff. He talked about Janet Jackson. But my question is this to you. Do you feel that this whole situation, this, you know, apology is too little too late? Or as I feel, the only reason why he's apologizing is, as usual, due to social pressures because of the whole Britney Spears documentary and how people went on social media to drag him for his misogynistic commentary, if you will, you know, when he went on Star and Buck Wild and it said, yeah, I slept with her, and how he insinuated she wasn't a virgin when they were in a relationship, and how he took many opportunities, including the Cry Me a River song. And there was, oh my God, I had the whole, what was the other song that he did? There was another song he did on the second album. There was a follow-up. It was a sequel of sorts to Cry Me a River. He basically, you know, continued to use the drama from his personal life with Britney as fuel to sell the solo album. So Britney and Janet were pretty much played a huge role. Oh yeah, and playing a double agent when it comes to music, as in, you know, sucking the life out of Black people for a solo career. You know, with Future Sex Love Sounds and the Justified album, because if it wasn't for Timbaland, nobody would be listening or giving a damn. Using all that for clout. So what's that here?
Well, there was damage done. I think that I think Justin Timberlake, you know, I agree with you. I do like the fact that he situation in there. However, there's clearly more to be said there. You know, a lot of people, many parts of the scandal, if you me, and it snowballed. You know, and because he is a privileged white male, it took its course, you know, and he got ahead of it. And I think, like, you know, she trusted him. Clearly, she trusted him. She loved him. And, you know, the same thing with, like, with Kanye and Taylor Swift. I think, well, not that the love part, the fact that, like, when Kanye, right, when he got Taylor Swift on his project, of course, you hear someone like Kanye, like, oh my God, yeah, sure, okay, fine, you're gonna talk about me, that's fine. You don't think he's gonna say what he said, you know? You don't think that they're gonna go and completely try to paint this narrative of you being a whore and, you know, all that stuff that he tried to paint Britney as, and did, and the media went along with it, you know, and you know, and he has his publicist and a lot of people in his back, in his ear, including who clearly was pushing a narrative. Meanwhile, Britney, who already clearly had mental issues from back then, and then now dealing what she dealt with him, it exacerbated, and then to be painted as a horrible mother and all that stuff, following all that, like, clearly, like I said, it snowballed, and we witnessed it in real time. So I don't know. On one hand, like I said, his apology is, I understand. Yeah, he was forced. And on the other hand, it's like, he did bring up some really interesting topics, but I know no one wants to hear that. A lot of people just wanted it to be about Britney and Janet and let it be. Don't add this whole industry shit and try, you know, give yourself like only half of accountability. No, take full accountability. You know what you did. And yeah, you got away with it, rightfully so, because this country is built for men like you, which is what he said. So I do think he learned. You know, it's just public opinion is not nice. So
yeah, I mean the apology, I'm like, it's what it is. You can either accept it or you don't. You could either support the music or you don't. I personally just don't care for him. Like, and based off of how he slithered his way into the industry and how you use people and I mean, they all do it. There's a lot of artists that do it, that will sit and will be like, well, to keep you off my back, I'm gonna slip you some tea about this artist, and then you go in on them while I, get through scot-free. And I'm glad that he's aware of his privilege. And yes, if people said, well, he apologized before he apologized to Janet. Yes, he gave a apology. We're not talking about like after the whole nipple thing. And I do believe Janet,
Yeah, that was
both of them are equally in the wrong for what had happened. I believe that it was supposed to be a tearaway. But I believe because he probably was so glad to be touching a black titty that he literally just, ripped away too much fabric. He got, you get a little too excited if you grabbing up on Janet. So I think he probably grabbed away too much fabric. I do believe. Wait, what?
No, I agree with. I think he got.
Really these white boys are. They get so excited to be around a black titty. From the days of Roots.
Mm-hmm.
They love being around black titties, but don't want to claim no black titties. But So I love saying titty, honey. Shout out to the titties. But anyway, so I believe that he probably got a little excited because he's young and probably was inexperienced in the fuckery department. I don't care even how many times he sleep with Jessica, but he still don't like he know how to handle that pussy. But he ripped away too much fabric, and then the whole situation happened. But I do feel that what he should have accepted just as he should have gotten. He should have probably gotten a lot. Go ahead, Miss Reagan. So I have a little kiki. But anyway, I do feel like he should have reaped a lot of the blame as Janet did. She's still been ostracized, especially by that troll Les Moonves, who has been ostracized by CBS over his shenanigans. His sexual assault allegations. I don't know what's going on with that. But he had a hand in the whole Janet Jackson situation. And first of all, we also need to do this. The charges with the FCC and stuff was dropped. So why is she still being persecuted? But he was allowed to come back to perform at the Super Bowl on his own. But you still ostracized Janet, which goes to show misogyny and hatred towards women, particularly if you're a woman of color. So the industry has its issues. Yes, it is very flawed, but there's a lot of demons running the shit up in Hollywood that need to be flushed out or die off. But even if they died off, these old crows that have been manning the ship, there's still a couple of these people in here. Like we heard the controversy surrounding Joss Whedon that's coming out, where a lot of people who worked with him on Buffy and Angel are coming out saying accusations about him and how he couldn't be left alone with Michelle Trachtenberg when she was a kid playing Dawn on Buffy. So, and then Sarah Michelle Gellar's coming out saying her stuff, and people getting mad at Nicholas Brendan, who played Xander, for not saying it. He said, I don't owe y'all a fucking thing. And he doesn't. He doesn't owe us anything in regards to his conversation about that. So there's a lot of, snakes in the grass and this, that, and the other. And do we accept this apology? Like I said, I don't. I still think he's a double agent.
Yeah.
And what's the other? Oh, and now look, he has 2 kids because Jessica Biel just had a baby. They keep their lives private. She has a daughter now. They have a son and a daughter. So now I guess maybe, me trying to not be so cynical and cold-hearted, maybe the fact of him having a daughter, he'll see the error of his ways and realize how bad women have it in the world, especially how men treat women. So we'll see how that all goes.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. However, it definitely takes a big person to admit their wrongs. And I don't know. Like when it comes to Justin, see that's where like I tend to not really give too much credence for what he exactly did. I just, like I said, I do think he earned. However, I don't know. I don't know if it has to do with the kids, because it's like he's had multiple child. So the first child's God knows how old, and so it's like it really is because forced. The time with Janet, he was forced because of hashtag Janet Jackson Appreciation Day. Like we do it every year, Super Bowl, and the year that he was performing, he was like, "Oh shit, I cannot not talk this." Like so forced. Like, and that thing you said in the opening, like we're one hand is like, okay, we had to force you. Just like last night, I'm sure you got whist of it. And if you didn't, I'm filling you in now. But Miss Andy Cohen had drag queens on the show, not sitting at the bar last night. So clearly you're listening, you're seeing the shade with Bob the drag queen, and now you want to make nothing, just slip him in there, and we're supposed to just say, oh shit, look, he did it, and let's just move on. No,
Oh
girl,
my
you
God,
took too long. That.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you brought that up because we were supposed to talk about that, about the whole Bob the drag queen throwing shade at Andy Cohen, and I did play that clip on the podcast last week. I mean, on Saturday. You guys could definitely check that out. I have it on my Facebook, or you can actually go to Tribe and check that out because the podcast is up there. But we could touch on that if you want. I'm trying to see if I can bring it up because he said something to me. Bob said something that I 1,000% agree with. Okay, so here it is. This is his quote because he says it all stemmed from, and this is like one of the reasons. But even before then, I was thinking, this is why I do what I do, and I want to create the platform for people like us, for us, by us. So he says, because he was about the experience on Watch What Happens Live, and he appeared on Hot Takes and Deep Dives. I've never heard of that podcast, by the way. You know, there's so many damn podcasts going around. That's how. Issues, but anyway, I don't know. Feel free to throw some of the drag queen photos up there while I read this. But where is it? Okay, so he says, I've done Watch What Happens Live. I was on with Kathy Bates and I dressed up like Tina Turner because Angela Bassett was on. They had drag queens dressing up like Tina Turner because Angela Bassett was there. It's usually like Kathy Bates throughout her film career or Nene Leakes on different episodes. When Angela Bassett was there, they had us dress as the one character she played in one movie, which was really odd. It would be like if we all dressed like the unsinkable Molly Brown. Even Angela Bassett was like, what the fuck? She didn't say anything. She was too classy to say anything. Well, yeah, Angela's always been classy. It says, I remember leaving saying, I'll never do it again. You are a prop. It's not like celebrating the drag queen. If you're going to have Nene Leakes on your show and then have these drag queens dressed up as Nene Leakes, it says that's cool, I guess, but I think there are lots of drag queens who also deserve to sit in that seat. So when you are a prop, you're kind of treated like a prop. You are literally standing in the corner. I wouldn't even do a bartender. I said I would never go back on that show unless I'm sitting in a chair. And if I'm not sitting in the chair and Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen is talking to me, I'm not going back on that damn show. They've asked me to impersonate other celebrities, and I was like, no, thank you. Maybe it's my ego, but I'm not going to dress up like Nene Leakes after winning RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm not going to do that. And you know what? I have to say I am 1,000% with him. Why is it that, and I've said this enough times, you have a gay man, talent is to be questioned, because I have yet to see where Andy Cohen has any talent besides creating, one fluke of a damn show and being annoying. I didn't know being annoying was a talent, but okay. He went and basically, created the Watch What Happens Live. And well, that, from what I heard Nene Leakes say, was an idea that she came up with. With that show,
okay,
but I guess, she said that she helped him come up with the idea, so that would be a way for her to get more bookings and stuff to appear on the show. But girl, you should have got you an EP credit. Even after you've left the show, you still have some sort of a percentage of something coming in. But I guess she said, she wasn't good with business. So this man's running around with this tight ass, horrible ass show, and she's off doing what she's doing, trying to get her life back or her career back. But nevertheless, I agree with Bob where he's basically said that, because to me, and why I created the content I created, I'm sick and tired of seeing gay people being put in a position where you can help create platforms for people, but you don't give us the opportunities. You have every opportunity to give us the opportunity. I've said many a times when they've had Lady Bunny on there to promote her, you know, her little, well, not even her little show, like her popular show. Like whenever she comes to New York and she does, be it Transgender or whatever, like a comedy show or whatever, what she would do at Stonewall. Why isn't she sitting in the chair? Why is she standing behind a fucking bar? Why is Bob the Drag Queen, the winner of Drag Race, standing behind a bar? Why are people who have albums that are queer, who got movies with something else? That's like sticking Little Nas X behind a goddamn bar. Like, why can't he sit at the table? Because he's not Tamara Judge, because he's not Teresa Giudice. When these people are way more famous than these trollops that you have on your show with no damn talent, because they're good at flipping tables or calling people whores, or is bitch better? I mean, yeah, they're giving us moments that we can all laugh and kiki at, but this is the opportunity for, as a gay man, that you could be giving out artists the same opportunities and putting them on there, unless you're at the mercy of NBC Universal and you don't have the power to do that. So for me, when I look at it, it's like, no, if Bob the Drag Queen has something coming out, or say, look, RuPaul should not be the only out artist that should be, or drag queen that should be sitting at the table. And don't even get in drag because you're not paying her. If Bob the Drag Queen or any other major, or Bianca Del Rio, whoever, if anybody has something to promote, they should be sitting at the table. That's why, like, one of my big dreams is to do my own late night talk show and give a platform from these out artists. And that is something that I'm going to make happen. And I've always said, for me, I'm not someone who waits for opportunities to come. You got to make those opportunities come for yourself. So I'm not going to give you the idea on what it is, but just know that it's going to manifest. I'm putting it out there in the earth, in the ether, and it's going to manifest. It's going to come true. So shout out to Bob for that, and fuck Andy Cohen and his tired, corny, untalented ass, and everything that comes with that. So to wrap up this whole Britney Spears thing, there is another Britney Spears documentary in the works. And you know, we have the one with Hulu that was called Framing Britney Spears. Britney, there was a story about that she was working on a documentary about her life, but word on the street is that is a rumor and not necessarily true. But according to Bloomberg, there is a documentary coming in the form of filmmaker Emily Carr, where they say it's going to be on Netflix, and that this documentary was in the works long before the Framing Britney Spears documentary, but that came out first. And then shout out to Chris Crocker, who, you know, I saw there was a t-shirt, I think it's on, you know, the Cock Destroyers. They have, I forget the website, but they have it with Matthew Camp. There's a t-shirt that they have on there, and I'm going to get that shirt too. That says Chris Crocker was right when he was talking about Britney Spears. So, yeah, leave her alone. Hopefully she get the freedom that she needs. I know there's a whole mental health thing. We're not going to go and dissect everything her brain, but I hope she gets the help. I hope that this conservatorship, the documentary, opens up a way for the judges and people within the court system to take a harder look at what's going on with her, and she gets the help that she needs. And last but certainly not least,
well, I got something to say. Hold on.
Regret about Britney.
I want to say, I didn't know this until like on. Well, first of all, Bob the Drag Queen is absolutely right. Like I said, I saw the the timeline last night. Everyone was loving the whole what happens. Some people were saying it was the best show ever. You had Jada Hall, and I saw Candy Muse now. Get me on Watch What Happens Live. And I saw it and I was like, let me ask you a question.
Wait. Let me ask you. Hold on. Let me ask you a question. Now, was she in the chair or was she behind the bar?
No, they were all they were were on like the Zoom screen, so they were there but not physically, and they were talking.
So he was interviewing. So he was interviewing them.
Yeah, and they were talking about like housewives and all that stuff, and Jada Essence Hall was calling out one of the other housewives, and it was really fun, and everyone loved it. So and it's the same thing with Justin Timberlake. Like, it took this long, and now you're coming out. We had to force you to do it, and now it's gonna be a floodgate of drag queens.
Mm-hmm.
But we're still not talking about you. The issue is the fact that it took this white man, Andy Cohen, to be forced to do this white gay man at that, which shows just because they're gay, they ain't all and in power, and it took you this long to finally put your own people on there, but you put the women that you paint as all these narratives, because those bread and butters, and you don't money in drag queens yet, you want them there as show props. And so now we got what we wanted, but we gotta hold them accountable. Like, and again, racist, bigoted people don't like that, but that's just how life works. You gotta hold yourself accountable, know your consequences, nutrition, and move and grow from this. Like, this is not because that's what he slipped it in there. Now, if for people like me, we want to continue to break this down, now we look like haters. When on the other side, it's not really hating; it's the fundamentals, it's the principle of the matter, of the fact that we have to continue to fight to get what we want. And then when people like him or Justin Timberlake flipping an apology, and I have stories of people saying that Britney said she won't mind doing a track with him. Girl, Britney, pause. Like, you're doing too much. You're too nice. The man ruined your life, and so it's those type of things. And so we have a lot to deal with when it comes to like holding people accountable, and when is enough to move on. And I think when it comes to bigotry and racism, they're more than just a slap on the wrist. Even Chris Harrison, like leaving show and stuff, like, not enough. And it's just not enough, because don't learn.
I'll say this. First of all, I don't never hate on nobody's situation. Like, first of all, it's way too much energy to hate on anyone or anything. I don't have the time. I'm too busy doing other things and worrying about what the fuck I'm doing to be hating on a tight ass queen named Andy Cohen. Number two.
Okay.
Well, it is cute that he had Jada and them on it, because I did see in the timeline that something about Jada Essence Hall was on somewhere. I just scrolled on by. I didn't even know it was his show, whatever the case was. I did see it was trending or whatever, but I didn't care enough to even focus on what the hell it was until you just told me. So now I am, out of curiosity, I'm gonna check it out to see like what it is and that sort of thing, and draw my own conclusion. Although I can imagine what it was, but I do agree with you when it comes to why did it take you being dragged by Bob the Drag Queen for you to all of a sudden want to invite queens on your show? Probably because nobody's watching the other shows you have on your network. I mean, the ratings are in the toilet for the current season of Atlanta Housewives. Nobody cares about this season. It's boring. New Jersey, I believe, starts tonight or tomorrow. I'm not sure, but I do know it airs a new episode. The season kicks off this week, so he has that to fall on. Nobody's watching these Below Decks and all these other shows. So NBC Universal, when it comes to the whole Bravo thing, a lot of those shows, nobody cares. So yeah, when all else fails, go to your own people and exploit them. So we're no longer allowing you to just slip in an apology and just think that, okay, saying I'm sorry is enough. It needs to feel sincere. And that's what I'm always about. It's always got to be about sincerity after the accountability. Does it feel sincere enough? Does it feel like it's something that you truly feel sorry about, or you just saying that to shut me the fuck up? Which is what a lot of people do, and a lot of white people have been able to get away with, when they get in that Karen and Ken mode, where they think, oh, I'm sorry, and pout a little bit, and that's supposed to be enough for us to just, forgive and forget. It's like, no. And like I said, it's not about hating. It's the fact that when people do things that we feel is a little exploitative, and don't get me wrong, people in our own community, we can exploit our own kind, whether you're black or just any marginalized group. Black people exploit their own kind, gays exploit their own kind. And so Laverne Cox can't be enough to get on there. Titus Burgess went on that show and basically read this thing for filth, which I live for. He's been shaded on his own show a couple of times. So yeah, shout out to Bob. And I still hope that even though he invited Jada and all these other people on, that he'll still stand by not wanting to, because I would love to talk to Bob about this, by the way. This whole situation about, what he said and the conclusion of him inviting someone on, the Drag Race girls on. I'll definitely check the episode out. I'm sure it's on YouTube. as it is always. Speaking, oh yeah. So to wrap this whole thing up, Perez says that he has expressed regret over his brutal past treatment of Britney following the release of the documentary chronicling her portrayal in the media. Social media was incensed after the series showed Hilton's actions while the Baby One More Time singer was at her lowest point. He also talked about how he got a lot of death threats and stuff, and people basically read him the riot act on social media after the documentary came out, because he talked about it on, he has a YouTube channel, and I do watch. Look, I watch everything for research purposes. When you're in media, you got to watch everything. Got to be abreast of what's going on. And he says, I regret a lot of most of what I said about Britney. The media personality who was 42 told Good Morning Britain on Monday. Thankfully, hopefully, many of us get older and wiser. The Twitterati, oh, that's what we call him now, the Twitterati. Shout out to that name. Had recently eviscerated Hilton for his scathing coverage at the height of his gossip blog popularity, which included calling Spears an unfit mother after the umbrella incident with paparazzi in 2007. He had also infamously featured T-shirts, and this was the worst part. He had a T-shirt which said, "Why couldn't it be Britney?" And this was when Heath Ledger died in 2008. So he basically was implying that. And then he commented, her situation is wholly inappropriate when he was the frothing cheerleader in chief, tweeted one critic. And I agree with that. You're only apologizing after you were pretty much, so he's kind of giving us the same apology as Justin Timberlake, that you're coming out and you're saying all of this, because you're being dragged, because the media is coming after you. And everybody has had their participation in this, but people also need to think, and I'm not making excuses for him, these were the times, like, people were just brutal in media and media coverage, and it was always about who's going to get the big story first and who's going to bring the most clicks and likes. And Perez was at the forefront of getting the click on social media, like go to his page and get the latest information. That's the way it was then. The paparazzi were horrible. The way that, the media kind of still is misogynistic, and they're still trying to break through that because of accountability and everything on social media, with everybody going on and going in on people, like with Diane Sawyer, came from a place of bias. A lot of it was a bit harsh in her accusations. What did you do to cause the breakup? What makes you think that it was only her? Like I said about Wendy and her husband, it takes two to tango. You can't just blame one side and think that one side is enough, because it's not. It's not always one person that is the cause of a situation to collapse. There had to be something that was going on within that relationship for the other person to react the way they reacted. And sometimes you can't just speak, so people just do stupid things, be it cheating or whatever the case is. We don't know what caused the relationship. I mean, the accusations out there accusing her of sleeping with Wade Robson. We don't know if that's the reason, or if it's true. These are accusations. We weren't in the room, so we don't know what happened. But do you feel like Perez's apology was sincere, or is he in the same boat as, say, Justin and all these other people who have come out and basically said they've only apologized because they're being dragged? That is basically due to social pressure.
Yes, no. This is Perez Hilton, who, first of all, he's on this tour of rediscovering. He was also on Tamron Hall and whatnot, and like doing his book and stuff. And at that time, he was blocked. I think he was on TikTok or something like that after fighting, arguing with the 11-year-old or some girl who was skiing, and so he's running his mouth. Rightfully so. It was for a little girl, and because he's a parent, he felt like he could say something. Just so, and I agree with you. It was a time when we was not looking for this. Doesn't mean it was okay. And it was ever okay, but it was a time where the internet was booming. Everyone was making money with the clickbaits, and you're right, who could get the pictures and who can sell it to magazines, and at that time couldn't even go nowhere. You go to the Ivy to have dinner, and then you go to the bathroom. Next thing you know, someone's stall take you in the bathroom because it was a very hectic time from 2000 to like 2012-ish. Like, it was hectic, Lindsay, and that's all I remember, the harmony of her and her parents, and then Brittany. Like, it was a lot back then. So I agree with you, it was the culture. However, now society, we're holding each other accountable, and sometimes we do look back, even with Tyra Banks. Like, we spoke about, you spoke about that a couple of weeks ago with Lil, about Tyra Banks and America's Next Top Model and stuff. Like, in that world now where, on one hand, it's like, okay, he apologized, and on the other hand, why did it take you this long? And I guess with Justin Timberlake, thinking about this whole thing, I had time to think about your piece. Like, I can't necessarily put Justin in that box per se, like, because if you read again his statement, he did hold himself accountable. Like, and I think that's the issue we're talking about when it comes to white grievance. Like, you don't hold yourself accountable. Not did we hear Senator Karen holding the candidate? Like you always say, Chris, there's levels to it. So, there's levels to apologies, there's levels to everything in life. So I don't put Justin Timberlake in that box, but I do Chris Hilton. Like, I put asterisk next to him, and and he doesn't deserve the hate that he gets, because people just hate him just to hate. But nothing wrong. You participated in the destruction of Britney Spears, someone who supposedly is supposed to be his idol too. And he even said about the Free Britney, he said, he wouldn't do that, but he supports it. So I don't know what that means at the end of the day, but you got to take it with a grain of salt.
And I will say that he has grown as a person. He has shown that he has changed. Now, yes, nobody says that he's not going to fall down and make mistakes, because we all do. We're human. That, like the stubble situation with the argument with the child on TikTok and getting his TikTok taken down, which, child, I'm not joining another goddamn app. Like, yeah, too many of y'all around here as it is for me to keep up with. So
that was me this morning on the Clubhouse. So I'm like, another, I can't.
Yeah, a friend of mine told me, he was like, am I the only one that doesn't have a TikTok? I'm like, no, I don't have one either. Like, I don't have any interest. Honey, I will start an OnlyFans before I do a damn TikTok. But I have to say with
speaking
we're gonna talk about OnlyFans. That's great. But the thing with Perez, I will say this, he has changed a lot, because I have been following him, and he said that, when he made that decision years ago, that I'm going to try to work on myself, and I'm going to do better, and I'm going to report the news and not be mean and draw cum stains on people's face and call them names and be a bully, because that was kind of what he was doing in those days, where he was basically bullying a lot of these pop stars and giving them names, fire crotch and all that other stuff. That came from him. So seeing that he has changed drastically and become less of a bully and more of an actual influencer and reporter and blogger, as he should have been, is great. But I feel like because of the past reputation that launched who he is, that will forever haunt him, because he always says gay men hate me and this, that, and the other. Like, he can't get in a relationship, that people, don't want to be around him because of his reputation. So the reputation that made him who he is, it's pretty much haunting him, and it's pretty much cursed him, and that is the price he paid for the fame and all this other stuff, and he has to live with that. And the only thing you could do is continue to do what you're doing, live your day by day. Those people that come in and just want to curse you out and call you names, and those are the temporary little bullies that don't follow what it is that you do. They're just going to continue to just say their little bullshit, and it'll sting a little bit, but eventually it'll go away. And that's just what trolls do. Speaking of trolls, let's talk about Sherry Pie's interview with let's talk about Sherry Pie.
Leave me alone.
Yes, with Tamron Hall. And I'm not calling Sherry Pie a troll. I'm calling those people who are on social media, giving their opinions nobody asked for about the whole situation on there. So I definitely want to talk about that a little bit. So yesterday, for the first time, yes, leave Brittany alone. The old Chris Crocker. He's changed a lot.
Yeah, I did a birthday with.
Oh,
that's crazy.
Yeah. He's also on OnlyFans.
Birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Miss Thing has been making porn. And she was one of the judges, a celebrity judge on Slag Wars. I think the very first episode. If y'all haven't seen that show, y'all should watch that too. But by the way, I've been promoting that enough. But anyway, so for the first time since being disqualified from RuPaul's Drag Race in March of 2020, disgraced performer Sherry Vine, whose real name is Joey Guglielmelli, sat down for a live televised interview on Tuesday's Tamron Cole show. So here's a little background for those of you who are unaware of what happened with Miss Sherry. So Sherry competed on the 12th season of the show's popular reality competition series, but a series of sexual misconduct allegations were brought up against him, with the whole Sherry Mossy thing. Wait, I forgot. It was Allison Mossy. I don't know. I was like, where the hell Sherry Mossy come from? So he poses a fake casting director and was tricking people that he said there was a dozen men that came forward with the claims, and he basically tricked them into sending money and degrading photographs under the guise of being considered for roles on stage and screen. So yeah, that pretty much has haunted him, and she began, not she as in Sherry, but she as in Tamron, began the episode by addressing the social media backlash that she's been receiving for planning this conversation. And she said, the very idea that I'd have Sherry Pie on was seen by some as giving away my platform. I've been a reporter for 30 years. I've interviewed rapists. I've interviewed murderers. I remember interviewing a woman in prison who murdered a child she was trusted to care for. It's not giving away your platform. It's called an interview, and people who do bad things are interviewed. R. Kelly comes to mind. That's just one person I'm thinking who was recently interviewed on multiple platforms and shared all over social media. And here's the past. The past, because I was going to say that, Sherry Pie doesn't get a free pass. Here's the thing. For those of you who are watching, and saying all this stuff, whether or not you feel like someone deserves a platform, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Everybody has a right to tell their side of the story. We heard from the victims. I wanted personally to hear Sherry Pie's side of the story. I want to know what happened. I want to know if she felt remorseful. I want to know what was the cause of why it was that you went off and you did this. You created this whole Allison Mossy persona, and you were talking about that you had a fear of losing your friends. So I was going to write about this article on Tribe, but it was hard for me to try to find the words to put together to come up with this. But then I was like, maybe if I just talk enough on here, the words will formulate. But yeah, I watched it. I was confused at times about what was going on. Like I was really trying to pay attention and understand what it was or analyze the situation to make sense of it all. And there were times when Tamron came across as like she was very hard hitting with the questions and not letting up, which I don't think she should at all. Like if you want to really go in and get the real tea, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire and burn you on your souls a little bit. So, I applaud her for how she handled the interview, and I love the fact that she brought the other blogger, the black guy on. I don't remember what blog he does. I think he does something with MTV, but or Viacom as a whole. But it was great that she brought him on, and he came on to talk. And the other bloggers who were afraid to come on with BuzzFeed, they didn't want to lose their job if they came on to talk about it. You broke the story, so it would have been nice to come on and talk. Oh wait, is that Sherry Pie? I never seen that picture. But anyway, such an amazing talent, someone who had the opportunity to just be, a huge drag race star and just ruin it because of whatever issue she said. She said she has borderline personality disorder. Now, I don't know if that's a fact or that's just something that you said. You say you spoke with your therapist and this is what the conclusion that y'all came up with.
We actually have both of those clips. So let's take a listen to what Sherry actually had to say in regards to, as you said, the thievery of it all and all that mess. And we also have the clip of his name is Ryan Mitchell. He was a culture commentator that you were bringing up about. But let's listen to this quick.
I have reached out to, I've spoken to 3 of the victims, and I have spoken to them. 2 of them I still kind of speak to. One of them asked me no longer to contact them, and I totally understand that.
Are you worried about Joey? Because here's the deal. We've done a lot of research. The catfish laws, if you will, are very loose out there, but there are allegations of financial fraud. There are allegations that in the hands of certain prosecutors could end up with either or potentially criminal investigations. Are you prepared for that?
I'm prepared to take any responsibility. Listen, I when everything kind of, I'm not here to hide. I mean, I didn't want to be somebody who was accused of something and who just kept denying. This wasn't something that I deep down felt good about doing.
Then Ryan Mitchell came on and broke down the flip side of the backlash. As you guys can see, Jackie Cox and a lot of drag queens said something. So let's take a listen to what Ryan said, and me and Chris will break that down.
After watching that interview, I want to make sure that the audience in the middle of America who is not the queer community, I want them to know that Joey, aka Sherry Pie, does not represent the LGBTQI plus community, right? And I think before it's to kind of create these harmful narratives or stereotypes, we have to be clear about that because language means
you are at. Let me tell you something. Last night, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm going to do it. So here's the deal. Last night, I thought about when I used to watch the news, my parents, and they didn't show the suspect, and suddenly we'd say, please, Lord, don't let them be black. Because we knew that the whole neighborhood was going to be painted by this one individual that we didn't even know.
But I can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes. But you know.
Okay. I was saying like that part when Taryn said that about like black families and how we always look at, please don't let them be black. That is a real thing that we do.
It's true, because I do the same thing. I always say, please, I always say, oh, I'm so glad the person that wasn't a black person that did it. Like we all do it. Like we all, even though it ain't right, we all think it because this is we're so fixated, and this is where the root of it all comes from. We're so fixated on worrying about what other people think of us, which is why I had a problem when they were saying that. Well, we need to have a disclaimer that people need to realize that we're not all like Sherry Pie. First of all, if you all think that we're a bunch of sociopaths, that we're just going around creating fake profiles to catfish people and pretend to be somebody that we're not for sociopathic sexual kicks, then you're a fucking idiot. Like, I shouldn't have to sit and break it down to you that we're all not like that. I'm nothing like Sherry Pie. I've never had the intent of being like what she does. And you can't paint all of us under one brush. And if you do, you're a moron. And I don't have time to entertain idiots like you. And to speak on that previous photo that you put up where Jackie Cox, who competed with Sherry on the last season of Drag Race, I don't agree with her assessment on what she said. Can you bring that picture back? Where she basically said, please do not give Sherry a platform to speak on her issues or whatever the case was. And my thing is this: everybody has a right to tell their side of the story. We heard from the victims. We heard from Sherry. This is what she said: I am publicly calling on @Tamara Hall Show to reconsider giving Sherry Pie access to the platform of national television to tell their side of the story without first speaking with the victims of her abuses and allowing them to weigh in on their own trauma. Now, here's the thing. How do we know that Tamara didn't reach out to the victims and have them come on and tell their side of the story? Because remember, she's been a journalist for 30 years. I'm sure she did reach out to them, or I don't know what the situation is, but it would be great to kind of get their side. But now that this is out, if it comes down to it, I hope that Tamara is looking at this, and we'll do a follow-up episode where the victims get to speak, and then they could ask, has Sherry kept in contact with two of the victims, as she said that she is, on the show? You know, with the whole situation that's going on. And it's unfortunate what Sherry did. Like I said, amazing talent. And am I a Sherry Pie fan? No. I know people who have followed her drag career and were fans of hers. I don't know if they necessarily are, whatever the case was, because we haven't had that conversation. But I feel like this is a conversation in our community that definitely needs to be had. Another conversation that I think that needs to be had in our community is the fact that, and I wish that Tamara would have touched on this more. If Sherry Pie basically looked like Brad Pitt, would we be that upset? Or Jared Leto? If she looked as fine as Jared Leto, snatched body, gorgeous face, ageless. Now the funny thing is, we look at Sherry Pie, she ain't even 30 yet, and that's how she looked. No shade, I'm just saying. We in the community have a problem when it comes to when we look at good-looking people, they tend to get a pass. But if you are overweight, if you're not textbook attractive, if you don't check the muscle queen stereotypical box, then you're considered an other, and we can't be bothered, because Black people aren't given the same forgiveness situation, because we see how toxic the drag race community, although loyal, a lot of y'all can be real toxic in your commentary and things that you say, particularly when it comes to queens of color, or if a queen is not that attractive. So that is a conversation to want to bring up. I would have liked to have seen Tamron dive more into Joey's childhood and his traumas, because usually, I always say this, and we've said this enough times on the show, we talk about mental illness and why people are the way they are, and I'm always trying to analyze things like that. It usually
he did say he had bipolar disorder. He did say he had bipolar disorder and whatnot. So obviously, he caught that from, it starts young, and clearly at the age that he's at now, he was able to get the prognosis of what he has to do, to I don't know how severe it is. He didn't get that specific, but he was advocating for BPD, which is what it,
borderline personality disorder.
Right. And so I'm kind of agree with you. Like, the backlash is a little much. Tamron stood her ground, as she always does, which is why she got that job at during her show after getting fired, humiliated, excuse me,
right,
at NBC. And then now she's at ABC. She's like #1 daytime talk show right now. Sorry, but Tamron got she got an interview right now.
Yeah, that's what people talking about.
And
Cancel
I like
Tamron. After they saw cancel Tamron Hall and said, I'm like, first of all, y'all not even fans of her show. Y'all don't even watch her show. And people say, I don't know who she is, and she's only doing this for ratings and clouds. I'm like, first of all, sit your dumbasses down over in the corner somewhere. Number two, Google is free if you don't know who Tamron Hall is. Like I said, she's been around for 30 years. She is a world-renowned journalist. You know, she actually went to school to do what she does. So she doesn't sit behind social media and run her mouth like a lot of you do with your fucking fingers, like a bunch of pussy-ass keyboard warriors, and you all got something to say about a bunch of nothing. Talking about she's doing it for clout. First of all, or ratings. Don't everybody do a show for ratings? Like, if I have an opportunity to interview somebody, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go in not from an unbiased standpoint, because I want to get to the bottom of it. So, like I said, the victims have a right to speak out. Sherri has a right to tell her side of the story. She's never said anything. Like, she was just erased from Drag Race, as well she should have been, because that was what they could do at that time. Right. The show was airing. What could they do? They had to start cutting out a lot of her stuff. So they addressed it in the way they needed to address it. And that was the opportunity for Sherri to tell her side of the story. Now it's up to you as the viewer to come up with your own conclusion. Did she feel sincere enough? Did you buy her apology? Do you think she's working on? And I didn't like this part where Tamron was like, well, what are you doing for the community? I don't need how to rescue the community. We as a community need to work on trying to better the community. I don't need Sherri to do that. Sherri needs to work on her damn self and figure out how she's going to repair the damage that she has caused from the whole situation.
I think she meant that in a sense of like wanting to use his platform to speak up for others. Like, now that he came out with bipolar disorder and clearly trying to make amends to what he done, and I think she was using that in a sense. Do you want to use this platform to help other people in the community who are going through this, who may not be, catfishing and scamming and stuff, but bipolar disorder is a real thing. So I took it that way, but I do understand too. Like, when people speak out at the same time, we do need leaders. We need allies, and we need the whole components in order to rise us to the cream of the crop. We want to be just as equal as every other heterosexual. And in order to do that is Black, white, Asians, every gay sector of other, and we be stronger united than divided. And that's kind of what I got from it. And I think people have the right to say that they don't want to.
I said, well, since you put it that way, I could say, it's always good, like, when you see it from different standpoints. I can see it. Now that you put it that way, I'm like, okay, so yeah, I do agree that we definitely need people within our community to, when they get in trouble, if they want to, as a way of rehabilitating themselves, to take a platform to speak out. It's like when people get, when victims of rape or victims of someone who's like, oh, I got HIV from a blood transfusion or rape, whatever the case was. Instead of me, thinking about committing suicide or whatever the case is, I'm going to take this opportunity to actually go out and speak to people about how you can make your life better, or don't make, or how to avoid these situations, or don't make the mistake I made, whatever that mistake is. So I definitely see it that way. Just use your platform for good. So yeah, I definitely see it that way. Yeah. So
and she was so good, and Sherri was so good too. That's what really pissed all of us off, especially when we were watching that season. Like, Sherri was so good. It's like, damn, you would have won had you not got the demons got the best of you. Like, and we got to judge people by their actions, and I know we're talking a lot about apologies and the longer it takes, but Sherri didn't wait that long. She just needed platform, time to get himself better, and then now he's able to come on and speak, and in society, the right part to say, I don't want to hear it. The man's a creep. He's a whatever you want to call him. That's fair, but also it's also fair that he has his moment, just like OJ, R. Kelly, like you said, the rest of them. Like, I hate it too. I hate the fact that we kind of like salaciously we kind of highlight, we elevate criminals and killers and everyone that's in that realm of like, like speaking of Tamron, like she 30 years, like 30-year career, she worked on Vine, and that was her whole life. Like she always said, my whole career is chasing down bad people and talking about stories of killing children, and then sitting down with the mother or father who killed them. Those are the shows that we all grew up on. And unfortunately, we're all creatures of habits. Like, and I'm not trying to excuse Sherry. It's just a sense of like, just every action has action. Like you said earlier about the trauma as a child, you know, even with little Kevin and Wendy, like, listen, trauma is a real thing. Shout out to Taraji P. Henson. Like, trauma is a real thing. And whatever trauma Sherry/Joey through, it caused him to become that person and do those own friends. Like, think about the mindset of someone, your own friends, you were scheming and catfishing and doing that to your closest friends. Like, that is sick. That is. And I hope to help. I really do. And I hope everyone else move on from this. Like, I you know, that's, you know, it's easier said than done. It really is. I mean, I've been sex assaulted quite, but I took the time myself to heal from it. Like, so I don't know these other people. Like, I don't know other people who probably experienced that and got their closure. And that's the thing. When you've been assaulted, like whether sexually or rape, physically, whatever it is, like it's that closure you want. You want that closure, whether you want to speak to that, get face to face with that person, or you want that person to face charges or whatever. And that's why, Tamron, do you fear charges? Because they can't charge you for this, even though, you know, your friend may say, oh, don't worry about it. But then deep down, if someone really psychologically is going something, they have every right to say, you know what, I'm pressing charges on this person because you emotional damage. Like, we watch enough freaking Blue's Court to know, like, that's a real thing. I just hope it doesn't go there. But if it does, like we said about everyone else, Justin, all that, you did it to yourselves. You did it to yourselves, you know, and that's that. Speaking of themselves, let's talk Gorilla Part 2.
Gorilla. Yeah, so I'm sure y'all watched last week's episode. I kind of went on a whole rant towards the original Gorilla Glue girl, who was a fool for, first of all, you're putting stuff that you use to seal hard objects. Like, I'll say that there's a pair of studio headphones, the headphones that I use, like DJ headphones, that I use whenever I do my radio show. They're great, surround sound, all that stuff, amazing. I don't know what happened. One day I was putting them on my head to go to work, and I heard a snap, and I was tight, so I had to, like, no music for a day. I literally went online and bought me a pair of headphones. But then with those, I wound up getting some Gorilla Glue from the hardware store. And so, yeah, you're not going to find Gorilla Glue in the corner of your local beauty salon. This is glue that you actually use for wood or whatever the case. If something's broken, you need to glue it, and it glues like that, real quick. It's very strong. I was surprised how fast it dries. But we got a new one. So last week I went in and I dragged the other girl, was saying, like, you know what, it was stupid on her part. I feel like she did it for attention, whatever the case was, which I still stand by that. I said what I said and I stand by it. Now we see people online doing stupid ass Gorilla Glue challenges. And my thing is this: all y'all doing this, I hope your goddamn hair falls out. This, you know, it was nice to see that African surgeon that, you know, did what he needed to do for himself, but I'm sure he's not going to do every last one of you dumb bitches for free. So I want to get on
her name,
and doing this stupidity. You get what you get. So what you gonna say?
Her name is you know, the original Gorilla Glue girl. The original Gorilla Glue girl name is Tessica. But this one here, her name
first
is.
Of all, her mama, wait. Her mama need to be slapped for the damn Tessica name. Why y'all be reaching? Come on now. Can y'all just give your daughter you couldn't name her Jessica? What was it? You can't say Jessica.
No.
Special. Or you know how when people get a certain name and they want to spell it all different?
Her name is
Aaliyah. ALEYAIH. Aaliyah. Okay, girl. You get it.
Her name is Avani Reyes, and she went viral this past weekend.
Avani dumb bitch.
This picture.
Avani dumb bitch. Ivani dumb bitch. Ivan the dumb bitch.
Oh God.
Anyway, go ahead.
So it says here, Chris, and shout out to the Days Digital for this one. It says she did not receive the same sympathy as Tessica, with comments on her video suggesting she only did it for clout.
Exactly. Continue. I agree.
So speaking of the original Gorilla Glue, Miss Tessica. So
why she look like Jeffrey?
Right.
I mean,
so,
think she did it. I think Tessica did it for attention and clout too. Because you see, she's selling T-shirts for like $30, and I get it. She's like the black guy in Recall. She has 5 kids to feed. So if y'all basically want to go and get her, and support, this infamy of Gorilla Glue before next week something big and new trend comes along. The hair's cute though. I have to say that. Even though she lost most of it.
She looks with the gun.
That's that hair that they were able to recover.
Mm-hmm. Look, so here's the lady.
She's a cute girl.
Tessica. Right. According, you're not the only one, Chris, who thinks that she is a fraud. It is this YouTube Instagram account. They took down the video, but it's called the _, and they went on showing a video about how this guy was putting glue in his hair and showing everyone how she was a liar. And now, according to Complex, Tessica has sent that gossip in the city a cease and desist letter that has been. She's threatening to sue him for defamation and saying that she is a liar. Some homeboy is on a power trip right now. Yeah, so watch what you guys say about Tessica. Huh?
I said, so what was it that was in her hair then if it wasn't Gorilla Glue? Because I'm not going to try. I'm not going to.
No, but
I got Gorilla Glue right over here in this corner. I'm not going to put it in my hair and try to see if it works. I want y'all to do it. Like, if y'all want to be dumb and put that shit in your hair, be my guest. But I want to know what exactly was it then if it wasn't Gorilla Glue, as this blogger is claiming. She's sending out cease and desist like she's VH1 going after Zeus Network for poaching on their reality stars. Yeah. So speaking of which, Saucy Santana got a dating show coming on Zeus. I saw that trailer. I'm like, child, it's like a horrible ad. I mean, I like Saucy, but that trailer like a horrible ad, like a stereotypical music video. He's throwing money at a bunch of half-naked boys. I mean, it was in slow motion. Well, okay, I am too, but
I'm watching it.
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
Child, look, I can't even talk. But anyway, let's get back to this whole Gorilla Glue situation. So I just think like they said, I think it's a bunch of bull. I'm not buying it. Let her, enjoy her 15 minutes. She made a lot of her coins via GoFundMe or whatever the case is. Like, y'all stupid enough to give this girl money when she's, basically duped y'all. I thought we was in a pandemic. I thought people was broke. I thought, nobody had money. But all of a sudden, y'all funding people's GoFundMes and stuff. Okay. Guess we not.
In America, no one's ever broke.
Exactly. We're always robbing Peter to pay Paul. But yeah.
Thank you.
I just don't understand like how after all this that people are stupid enough to create a Gorilla Glue challenge. Like this is just some sort of thing that y'all should be doing. Just can we stop giving attention to idiots? But anyway, let's take one last break, and then when we come back, we're gonna talk fashion and OnlyFans.
Mm-hmm.
And we can wrap up the show.
Yes.
We had to break down a lot. We had to break down a lot of topics.
Yes, and also I have a story about Jet Jackson that we are going to talk about. We're going to celebrate the Queen. Well,
Oh yes,
it's gonna be on to the queen. You know
well,
what?
no, Janet. It's queen. We're not Beyonce, the Beehive, y'all can have her, but Janet is, before her. We got to celebrate the other queen, Janet Jackson.
Right.
I think I know what you're implying because she did say thank you for celebrating a little something while everybody else was talking about Janet Appreciation Day and the whole Justin Timberlake thing. She didn't even address it. She basically just talked about this little something. We'll save that after the break. Because unless you won't bring it up now.
No. We'll save it for after the break. The girls wait. We'll be right back.
So she's alleging that she says Malone fell very much in love with Jennifer Lopez, saying that he's drawn to her because she's a 51-year-old woman. Find him as because J-Lo was that age. Now not only that, but Moni claims Lopez is just as into Maluma. In fact, they're having a secret affair. That they've had a sexual relationship, and that the pair talks about their deep love for one another all the time on the phone and on WhatsApp. Okay, girl. But she didn't stop there. Moni also alleged that in addition to being obsessed with J-Lo, Maluma was also sexually attracted to both men and women. Loved about makeup artists, particularly behind the scenes, whether it's hair, makeup, or even in any part of the beauty situation. When you work with celebrities, you get all the good tea because they will dish it to you. I know because I've been on many sets where they be beating up and stuff, and this is what they get. I'm not going to ask you any of that because we don't want to be that messy. But one of the questions, because you said you work with Deb Annie, do you think she a Trump supporter? Because that's the storyline they're trying to run with on that growing up hip hop.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. I don't believe it. I think it's a made-up storyline
For the show, and I found some other stuff, but this video right here was another video that explains, where she's at with it. Like, she keeps trying to. She's like Joe Biden, okay? She knows that the outside, the melting pot is brewing, and she's telling everyone, guys, calm down. And I think we have to listen to her at the same time, still protect her. You know, that's what people really want, to just protect her. Like you said, he's been a conservator for ever, it feels like, and I think
over
it's
a
time
decade.
yeah, and
Girl, don't play stupid. It's like, I was about to say, girl, please stop talking. Please stop talking right now, which is what
Okay.
Whoopi said over the summer. The funny thing is, it's like, honey, was that a direct jab at Anna Navarro? Because all the ladies have pretty much been up there having their little back and forth. They've been conversing. They've been getting, like, they've had their little debates and they've gotten along, but she's thinking that we're all missing that, her being disrespectful to, you know, her co-host. And my thing is this: I'm all for different. I'm all for difference of opinion. That if you don't agree with what I'm thinking politically, that's okay. But we can come to a common ground, and you can basically be respectful that my views are different than yours. Nutmeg has not figured. Yeah, I don't call her Meghan McCain. I'm Nutmeg. Because the bitch is crazy. But my thing is, to me, she seems to not be respectful of other people's opinion. If they don't agree with her, but I'm just trying to explain conservative people think. We don't give a fuck, quite frankly. I don't give a fuck. I don't care what your conservative view is, because your conservative view is completely out of touch with the rest of reality. You're a privileged white girl who was famous because of a father who you continuously remind us of every chance you get. And the only reason why a lot of us won Arizona was because of your mother. The Democrats. Because, you know, her mother, Cindy McCain, she helped flip Arizona, and Arizona is now a blue state. So I'm not that excited for her to come back. Like, I'll watch and I'll see how it is, but I just feel like we're just going to go back to old bullshit. And she just thinks that, I have this image to uphold, and I have to come in and be polarized, and I have to be mean, and I have to be a bitch, and I have to be all these certain things. And it's like, people are hoping that, you know, I always thought that a baby softens you as a mother. So I don't know, what's your
wow, honey.
yes.
Girl.
I was like, well, damn, was I a little harsh on Nutmeg, or was I a little harsh on Nutmeg?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's harsh on that, honey.
Yeah, like, I didn't see today's, but you know, Whoopi got her all the way together in regards to talking about abortion. Because Sonny gave straight facts about what the Republican Party has become. And she's like, well, that's like us saying that the Democrats are all, you know, about late-term abortion. I said, no, you're not going to compare apples to oranges. Democrats have never really shown out the way the Republican Party has in doing anything they can to maintain, like selling their own party up the river just to maintain some sort of power and infamy in the media zeitgeist. So that's what Sonny was talking about. This is what you have become. You have sold your souls to become this party, the party of Trump and Trumpisms and the things that he is pretty much, you know, shoved down a lot of people's throats with the racist rhetoric and the misogyny and the homophobia and all these different things. And if you are not of that party, then you need to speak out. You don't just speak out of both sides of your mouth And Nutmeg does that. The only person who is a Republican that has spoken out against their party consistently on a media platform is Anna Navarro. That's why I love her, because she's like, I'm not afraid of calling out my own goddamn party. Nutmeg doesn't know how to toe that line because she doesn't want to come across as disloyal to her base because of who she's married to, Ben Dominic. So
yeah, and her money is tied, and that's the real key of it. So she can't do it because her money's tied into it. Like, you know, she'll never admit it. And like, you know, me and DJ always said, like, you know, she's one of those hobby under table racist.
mm-hmm.
You know, she's just up to the point where she's not stupid as this Rachel girl from freaking The Bachelor show up at an antebellum. You know, you'll never catch Megan in pictures racist. Like, she's not that stupid, but you do know this is the same daughter of her father who tried to block Martin Luther King as a holiday. So that sounds about racist to me. Yeah.
Exactly. They always try to give, you know, the man credit like he was this, and this. Oh, because he is a war survivor. That's about it. But his policy was right. So a lot of people kind of forget that because the man's dead, all of a sudden we're going to erase what his policies are. Wait, what was they want to say like erase all the things that he's done on the policy. Remember, he was going to make Sarah Palin his VP. So when you look at it from that standpoint, in the words of But anyway. Oh. Why am I hearing reverb? I hear myself in the background. It's loud. Anyway, yeah. So now we're gonna conclude with talking a little bit about OnlyFans. So, months after joining OnlyFans, actor Tyler Posey is finally opening up about his experience in creating content for the site, calling it mentally draining. So he says, you really feel like an object on OnlyFans. This is what he shared in an interview where he did with Ease the Rundown. He says, I'm trying my hardest to be artistic as possible with the content I put out because I don't want it to just be porn, you know? That's not what I do, and I don't want to take it away from the people that are doing that. The 29-year-old former teen Will Star also added, I just want to be artistic and stay in touch with my fans. Now, the actor joined OnlyFans in September of 2020 as a way to overcome his body insecurities. He loves being nude, and while Instagram draws a fine line between nude as art and pornography, you can get away with a lot more on OnlyFans. He says, I love being nude because you're not born wearing clothes, so I want to go out the same way that I came in, he continued. I want to die naked, and since 2020 has been a little scary, I feel like I could die any second now, so I want to be ready. Yeah, so that's what he said. And then he talks about a whole bunch of other stuff where he experimented with sexual role play in the bedroom and said the reason why he came out as, I believe, pansexual. And he says he's hooked up with guys and hooked up with a transsexual worker during a trip to Amsterdam. He says that his coming out of sorts, he explained in his coming out of sorts in an interview with SiriusXM, the Jason Ellis show, and says, I woke up one morning and saw all this stuff on Instagram about these transsexual women who were being beaten and harassed, and there was a bunch of people that were fighting the whole entire interaction and laughing at them. Originally, I was just shedding a light on that, though, whatever way that I could, and then I was hit with wanting to just come out myself with the whole thing and be honest about it. So he's basically saying the reason why he joined OnlyFans is for that reason, was because, you know, it was a way for him to kind of, I guess, maybe get in touch with his sexuality and being free with it. And one of the things that I've noticed, because I watched there's a documentary on Hulu about the launch of OnlyFans and people who are OnlyFans models and celebrities like Bella Thorne, who is Tyler's ex-girlfriend, by the way, how she jumped on and she said that, oh, I only created content because I was doing research. I wanted to see what the research was about for a movie. And the director says, there was no movie in the works. Like, she's making that up. So, and charge people $200 for a nude that never existed. So I think people look at it from that standpoint of, here, these celebrities are coming in, duping people for a coin. And in the beginning, I did say, like, I don't know if I like the fact that a Cardi B or a Mario or, you know, a Chris Brown is joining, or Trey Songz is joining OnlyFans, because then what does that mean for their brand? Like, if you have to, what it is, you have to toe that line. Whereas, how much do I show? Do I show, you know, there was one male model that's on it. He says, I only do photos of my underwear, or I tease, like, you see my butt, but you don't see penis. Or, you know, I eliminate certain of those things because I know in the future, once I want to move beyond OnlyFans, because I was thinking about that too. It's like, once you open that Pandora's box of joining OnlyFans, what does that mean for you when you want to step away from that? Because there was a girl that was also on there who, I believe, EJ, if I'm not mistaken, you told me about her, but I didn't see, you know, when they interviewed her, whatever the case was. But there was a girl in there who was a mechanic, and she was fired from her job because they found out she had an OnlyFans page and she was a distraction to the male workers. So she was a girl that was interviewed in the documentary as well. And so I think it's like it's 1 hour. So they speak to different people. They even had Griffin Barrows on there, who, if y'all have been following my Facebook, with the little joke that I put on there about the rock, paper, scissors, dick thingy, there's a picture of him, and everybody knows who watches gay porn knows who Griffin Barrows is. He's interviewed as well, and there's a bunch of people that were brought in. But in the beginning, I did have an issue with celebrities jumping in and wanting to be a part of that, but I realized what OnlyFans is trying to do. And I was like, oh my God, a light bulb immediately went off my head. OnlyFans was not initially created to just fuel sex work. It wasn't just for porn. So although OnlyFans said they will always remain loyal to people who do adult films, like, it's for anybody who wants to create content. OnlyFans is also a place where, say, if I wanted to create something that was, you know, like the very first interview show, a talk show, whatever the case was, I can go over to OnlyFans and put that content up there and basically charge you $5.99 or $9.99 a month for you to watch and get that content. So it's a place for people to put things that's going on. You can probably put up your own reality show on OnlyFans, or create. It's like a new place where people can go where they don't have to deal with the repercussions of a Instagram or YouTube or Facebook. If you want to go through those channels, create content, but there's so many restrictions and algorithms and what they could put up, that, and so much red tape, that you can go over to OnlyFans and be able to create your own content and put up there. So I like the idea of now OnlyFans is trying to create a broader platform for all kinds of people to come on and create content. It's not just for this. I just feel like, because sex workers, this is a place for them to go. It is kind of like what people associate OnlyFans with, but there's more to OnlyFans than sex workers providing their own content. And if you're going to get into, you know, the nudity and putting stuff up, and you're talking about it's emotionally draining, you know, there are actual people, like I said, most notably sex workers, who are using the site to make a living. And if they're struggling with some sort of anxiety as well, with the constant pressure to consistently create content, like, there's things you have to worry about in that context. But when I wrote this post, because I wrote the article over at tribe.com, if you guys want to check it out, the article on the whole OnlyFans situation, Tyler Pose and everything, was written by moi. A friend of mine by the name of Opus Wilson said, it's because he's being a cock tease. I'm part of a group where members share photos with everyone else in the group. He needs to make it clear that he's not going to show his dick so he doesn't get the stress he's obviously asking for with him framing shit the way he is. And another friend by the name of Chip Burke, who said, porn or no porn, dick or no dick pics. Once you start or even post shirtless pics, etc., that's just how it is. I'm treated as such every day. If I don't want to be treated like an object, I can do two things. I give no fucks, or two, give no fucks, or two, stop posting such things. So what people need to realize is, if this is something that you're going to jump into, I think the bottom line is this. You have to know what it is that you're going to do when you jump on OnlyFans, how far you're willing to go, what your boundaries are. So if your boundaries are that I'm only gonna be a tease and give you a little something, but I'm not gonna do full nude, let people know that. Let people know what your boundaries are. Put it in the disclaimer. There's a way of doing that. So this constant pressure of you feeling like, oh, today I want to jerk off, but if I do that, then what does that mean? Or how is it going to affect my brand? And so these are all things you got to take into consideration. And another thing is, a lot of times, while you're putting out certain content, the people who are viewing and the people who are subscribing and the people who are paying feel like they own you, that they can tell you what it is you want to do. And then they were even talking about that in the documentary as well, the body shaming, that people go up in your comments and they start talking about how you big with no breasts, how you got a long booty crack, or, you know, there's little things that people like to nitpick on to make you feel like shit. And it's unfortunate that, yeah, you have to go through that when you got the online bullies who are slipping into your DMs and criticizing your body. And then you have those models who say that I'm aware of all of my angles and I'm modeling, and the constant pressure to look good because this is the content you're putting out there. So it's like you have to, it's literally a lifestyle. And the amount of work and, you know, effort that people put into creating this content. So it was just a lot to break down. I just hope that, you know what, if celebrities are going to come in and this is the type of content you're going to put out there, and yes, Tyler has a lot of nudes on there, and I liked him ever since he played J-Lo's son in Maine and Manhattan, and then he went on and did Teen Wolf and the homoeroticism that was up in that show, and everything that was going on with that. It was, it was a pretty good show, and he's a pretty good actor, and he's so caught up in, I guess, using this platform to come to whatever personal issues that he has going on in his life, and you have every right to do that. So, I don't know what else to add to it, but EJ, do you have any thoughts on the whole OnlyFans situation and this article? I was like, oh, you're there. I saw something. I saw a little something.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm here.
Yes. He says, I'm here. Yes. I can hear you.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think it is, your friend that said, with like, you have to figure out what exactly you're gonna be doing there rather than just go there and then you're getting flooded people who want to see a certain thing, and if that's not what you're here to do, then you need to put that on your file and be very explicit with, like, this is what I'm doing from such day, this is my post. And people, I'm sure, I know they're able to tip you and all that stuff. So yeah, you'll have your group of people. I agree with you. I think when they created OnlyFans, I don't think they created it for that. But now it's grown into this industry where only is known for sex, but there are people who are building brands on there. And I also agree with that. If someone smart who is looking to do new content and want to be on a platform and talk about have porn stars on and places, because you can't do it on YouTube. You can't really do it on these platforms. You can maybe Patreon, but Patreon is kind of the same thing in a sense. It's a subscription-based platform, but so it's interesting. Like, it's capitalism at its best. I mean, and sex work is already demonized. So I think I think this is the precipice. And celebrities, whether they know it or not, they are part of making sex work a taxable situation in this country where people should have rights because it's work, period. And I see it in the 5 to 10 years. I see it happening because it's already legal in Vegas. I mean, and now you have it online. So it's like, you have Pornhub and OnlyFans. You got porn stars and amateurs who are colliding in a sense, because who do you want to view now? Like, now you can view your neighbor next door on OnlyFans, or you can view, the latest hottest bottom on, like. So it's interesting. It's interesting, Chris. I think it's gonna get real interesting on who more of these celebrities start taking OnlyFans. I saw someone by the name of let me pull up right here. Daniel Newman. He's from The Walking Dead. Out and proud LGBTQ, member, and he's on OnlyFans. And so like, and this guy has 881 followers on Twitter. So we just showed this thing right here where you see the richest celebrities on OnlyFans, and clearly you got Cardi B up in there, and a bunch of people in there. Bella Thorne, who broke the internet at that time, Black China, like so many people, mostly women. But which is good, I guess. They need their shine too. But so I do see them taking money from the little people, but again, capitalism, like this is just the way of the land,
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. What was I say? Yeah, with talent posing, it's interesting to see you got a lot of these actors who are in entertainers that are jumping into the whole bandwagon of OnlyFans, and if they're able to make it work, if they're able to figure out what it is that they're trying to sell and promote, because that's what OnlyFans is about. It's about selling content. Wait, the background of my voice is distracting.
Are you hearing yourself?
Yes. It's loud. But anyway, what was I say? The only thing with Tyler Pose and everything, and you got all these famous people that are jumping on the bandwagon, like what was said, if you can find a way to make it work and find a way to, what it is, whatever your platform is outside of the whole entertainment industry world, if you're going to figure out how to make all that work in regards of whatever content you're going to sell, then once you get that out there, then that's great. Set up boundaries, let people know what it is you will and will not post. And because like you were saying, you can go into the DMs, you can tip people and that sort of thing, or for this amount I can send you this, or you send a little personalized photograph, or there are things that people do for that little extra money. And I have a lot of friends who do OnlyFans, and I don't judge them, and like if you do it, that's great. But I always want to look at it as, okay, so you're doing OnlyFans now, you're making all this money, but what are you planning on doing when that whole well dries up? Like when you're no longer valuable, or you have nothing more to give to OnlyFans, then you have this. It's no different than doing, if you're doing adult entertainment within the OnlyFans world, what do you do when you try to leave that? Like, that's going to forever be out there. Oh, so-and-so had an OnlyFans. But at this point, the way this pandemic was, and a lot of people's unemployed, everybody's not going to get a job, because these days, everybody's got nudes, everybody's got little videos, whether it be on OnlyFans or for free somewhere else. So, for me personally, like if I was doing an OnlyFans and I was making the money that I would be gathering and using, I would be putting that towards projects like this, like a talk show, or all my entertainment endeavors, creating merch or whatever the case was. So that money will be going into trying to create bigger opportunities, because that wouldn't be something that I would just be doing until I'm like 50, 60 years old. Like, who has the energy to be putting out so much content later on in life? Even though there's a niche and a market for everybody and anybody, there's MILFs and DILFs and all kinds of, and people in between that are making content on OnlyFans. I'm not saying that, there isn't a market for that, because there's a market for everybody. But it's just knowing, like, if this is something you're going to jump into, you really need to think long and hard about it, not just be, caught up in the fantasy because it's cute at the moment. You really have to think about how, like, once you get in this, if you're mentally prepared, you got to learn how to bob and weave through the hateration on social media. And if there's a goal, an end game, an end goal, if you want to get out of that, what's the next step to making that move to transition from OnlyFans into, I'd say, I don't want to say legitimate work, but work outside of the world of OnlyFans is considered legitimate work. So what do you see yourself once you get beyond that into the next chapter of your life? So these are just things to think about. So yeah, I guess that's all I got to say on the whole Tyler Posey thing. But I want to say this, because we're about to, I know, do some fashion stuff. I want to give a shout out to my girl Lourdes Leon, aka Madonna's firstborn child, who's been chosen to be the temporary face of Marc Jacobs' Spring 2021 campaign. So congratulations to her on that. It says Marc has a long storied history with Madonna, and so it only made sense for us to tap Lola to be the face of the campaign, as she perfectly encapsulates the youthful spirit and uncompromising sense of individuality central to this younger expression of the brand. And this is what the fashion label shared in a press release. Well, and I also hope y'all save y'all coins, because the collection features colorful tote bags at $375 and purses at $425, as well as denim sneakers, which will run you $275, and medallion earrings at $85, and a whole lot more. It also is not the first time, I should point out, that the 21-year-old has struck a pose for a fashion house. She's modeled for Juicy Couture's underwear campaign, served as a muse for her mother's longtime friend, fashion collaborator Jean-Paul Gaultier, and sashayed like a panther on the runway for Juicy Sport in 2018. So, you know, congratulations to her on her new fashion mobilization. I know a lot of people look at this as nothing more than, what do you call it? Nepotism or whatever the case was. But do you expect Lola to get a job at Starbucks, or, you know, like that's not going to work? First of all, y'all read her for even having a regular job. Why she recognized she got a regular job? And then if she does something like fashion or entertainment, which she did go to school for, she went to the School of Performing Arts in New York, you know, the Fame School. If she would have done, like, if she does anything and say, oh, it's nepotism, that's because I'm not sure, she can't win for losing. So it is what it is. Thoughts?
I love the idea of Madonna's daughter being face of that campaign. And I loved your recap of the OnlyFans, and with something we're talking about for a long time off camera, like, and now it's interesting that it's all coming ahead, because it's a conversation that's needed. And yeah, I'm sure there's going to be many more stories, many more people losing jobs and, you know, livelihoods over it, because, you know, private companies do what they want. Some success stories, hopefully. But yeah. So speaking of success stories, let's get to the latest that went down this past week at Fashion Week. Yes. So we're kicking off with
oh no, is that flannel?
pictures here. Flannel. Is it? No, this is from Vogue magazine.
I'm not gonna wear it flannel. They didn't pick any lesbians to wear it.
Right, but this is the men's collection. This is from the line ONYRM. Hold on one second. Let me see. 1 second. You know, I gotta get these names right now. Don't wanna mess it up. Let's see. So yeah, so this is from like I said, it's from Vogue magazine. This is the men's line, the menswear, and this is their latest, one of their pieces here from Fashion Week. Yeah, this is the line ONYRMR. I don't know exactly. I never heard of that brand, but I like the coat. I like the one. Yeah, right. And I like the one that's laying his head on the shoulder. I like that color of that coat. But I have some other pictures here too. This one is some random. I don't know.
Yeah, that look like some outfit that you go like that's like let's go search for some Pokemon. Like that's what that's giving me right now. No ma'am. No ma'am.
So here's the tea with this one. So this one here is this is the basically they call this the It's by this Japanese company called Street Elements, if I'm not mistaken. But it's called the mushroom dress. So yeah.
She has a bunch of dicks on her dress. A bunch of dicks on her dress.
I don't know if I wear something like that, but that's happening. If you saw Wendy Williams, right, and if you saw Wendy Williams this past week, she was wearing, she wanted to get a specific type of shirt from Louis Vuitton. Well,
it was like a jacket with
Right. So doing my research, that is the new thing now. Like that is the new thing. Like the looks. I'm about to pull up something right here. So speaking of Louis Vuitton, they've done something similar. Like this is from Louis Vuitton's runway, the men's runway. You can see this jacket here at the front. Got very much art going on here. Clearly, this is priced in the thousands, but for the trashy artwork, I mean, I don't like it, and I know art is subjective and all that goodness, but I just don't. I don't know. Some goes a little too far. What do you think, Chris?
I don't mind it. It's a little over the top. It's a little kooky. Like this is stuff that I'm used to seeing a lot of Asians wearing. Like they're a little kooky and out there with their fashions and stuff. So this doesn't really bother me all that much. It does look like I'll look at you with the side. I'm like, yeah, okay, but or whatever. I wouldn't wear it, but it's cute for them.
Yeah.
Wear it, but it's cute for them.
Right. I agree. You won't certainly catch me. But speaking that you bought China, like if I were to go, that is where I would. That is something that I would wear. So let's get to the next picture here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure this is the one I like when I.
Oh wait, now zoom in on that jacket because
this
I'm living.
Yes. Yes. So I love that one.
I like the 80s. I like the
so
80s.
they had some hit and miss for me.
Is that Louis Vuitton?
Mm-hmm.
Is that Louis Vuitton?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love the red and the black. I like that color. I like that color. I like the color on the outside. I don't know everything about it. I even like the 80s shades. So yeah, this is definitely a yes.
Yeah. See, we're making progress. Oh, so the mushroom dress, real quick. It's called Stolen Garments is the designer of the mushroom dress that we showed earlier.
Stolen
so
Garments.
you guys want to get
that bad.
Clearly, we're continuing with the this one. See, this one I like.
Yeah, I like it too.
You know, too much going on.
I like the fabric, which looks like a a chessboard, and I do like the little stuff. And like this is something I would definitely wear on the red carpet. Like if I was at like the VMAs or something on really cute, simple.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd actually grab the girls and put some heels with it.
Okay, I hear that.
Like a boot
so
heel.
yeah, this is still Louis Vuitton.
Ankle boot. Like a boot heel.
Oh right. Okay. I see it.
And
I
did
see
he have a
it.
clutch?
Wait. Yes, he did. Look at that. The clutch and all. Whatever. So this is the fashion roundup here. Wednesday night Kiki. We're from this messy show. So continuation. Darling.
Did you ever see that movie called Basket Case? That's what this reminds me of. Like he was born like
No, I did not.
like it was a it was a movie about he had a twin brother, but he was born attached to like his side or whatever. That's what this is giving me. And the brother was a little was homicidal. So this is basically what this is giving me right now. I mean, this is over the top and cute, whatever the case is, but it's a little ridiculous. But I get it. It's fashion. Fashion is supposed to be ridiculous. I wouldn't wear it, but I get the whole point of what it's for. It's like y'all were inspired by the Muppets.
Oh my God. Okay, wait.
I love the fact that you are that you're just showing all the men's fashion and we're not doing ladies' fashion because everybody always goes to the ladies and just neglects us.
Right. I look out for the gays. I know. Audience, honey. Let me stop. This is continuing. Wait, hold on. So hold on. We're gonna clear it.
Wait, are we on OnlyFans?
I need to get out of the screen.
That was the last segment.
Because we're clicked the wrong thing. What a wrap up, guys, for Fashion Week. Oh no. Yeah. So that's Louis Vuitton. But yeah, I specifically looked out for the men's fashion specifically because you're right. It's a lot of the women's out there. No shade, but it was, I thought it would be good to show what the men's are wearing. And I do have some other pictures of what went down.
I was gonna say if that was it about the men's fashion, then you can say that's going for next week. Then, what is it? I think doing Fashion Week again. Is it Milan or Paris or one of them? After New York.
After New York. Yeah, I think Milan, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. But yeah, so these are the pictures that I got here. I'm pulling it up right now. These are some more pictures of this. We're gonna go through the celebrities of Fashion Week, and we're gonna kick it off with one of our favorites. This is a couple who on the cover here of GQ magazine, Hanny. And I'm happy for both of them. And we're going to talk about them here. This is none other than Ciara and her man, Wilson, on the cover of GQ here. This is via Instagram.
I love it.
So as you guys see, GQ magazine. Yeah, too. I love what they stand for.
This is a couple.
And now we're getting here to Mindy Kaling. Shout out to Check the Tag for the fashion recap here. We got Mindy Kaling. She's wearing Dolce & Gabbana. I like it. That dress. Yeah, I like the color. I like the pop.
The color.
I see her.
The color definitely looks good on her because it goes with her skin tone, and yellow is always a good color when it comes to certain people. So I like it. And Mindy is another one who is a comedian and kooky in that sort of way. So it's fitting with her personality.
Exactly. I agree. And then we have the one and only Cardi B. He is wearing Balmain. Is it Balmain or Balmain?
I always say Balmain because I try to be fancy, but there's another French word. So yeah, I think Cardi B looks amazing because she's got curves. So an outfit like this definitely
She got boobs.
accentuates her figure. So it looks good on her. And
Yes, Cardi B. Bomb man.
That she makes it look so vulgar.
Oh wait.
That's what's in the comments.
Balenciaga. She makes it look so vulgar.
Balenciaga, bitch, you wish you were a fashion house. That's why she had to call herself Balenciaga.
And then we have the one and only Rita Ora, dressed to the nines with Stephanie Rowland. I like the color Rita Ora, like you said, with Mizzy Killing. It pops, her skin tone makes it pop. I'm here for it.
And Rita Ora has a new album. Well, she has a new EP, but she is talking about releasing her third album. I saw that was trending. She was working with this DJ, so it's like a 4-track dance record. So if y'all want to check that out, it's out. I think it came out last week. So yeah, she's still putting out content. And I know we were dragging her over the whole Corona party thing at the restaurant. But and I kind of wish she was bigger. Her music got more attention. But you know what? She's out here doing her thing. I like Rita.
Okay. All right. I like it. You know, you're right. She did have the issue in London where she did the whole COVID party, and and once again, she held herself accountable, like we've been talking about the whole episode, and she also paid a lot for it. So hopefully she learned. We have another Aura coming up in December to the one and only Gina King. That is a picture of her from this past weekend on SNL. Shout out to King. She is in the pre-Oscar nominations. She's nominated for everything from NAA to Golden Globes. This is her year. This is excellence, and she looks fantastic right here, wearing the latest wait, let me zoom. Who's David? 2021 line here. I like the dress. Shout out to you, David. Chris, what are your thoughts?
I like it. I like the yellow. I like the. I'm trying to zoom in, like trying to get a closer look at the fabric. The fabric looks like it's giving me like 70s mod, very much like a 70s vibe. So yes, I'm looking for it. And sidebar.
Yeah.
I should point this out. A huge winning because she doesn't have another role. Oscar Golden Globe and 4-time Emmy winner. I should point that out before we say Regina King. She's set to star in and produce a film biopic about Shirley Chisholm, who was America's first Black congresswoman. So that news came out today. She's about to play Shirley Chisholm. For those of you who don't know who she is, she was someone who was an inspiration to many in the community, and she was a politician. She was someone who ran for president. Didn't win, but of course, because otherwise we'd have historically the first Black woman president. So getting to have this done, Regina is definitely making big moves in the entertainment industry, and it's long overdue.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with you. And this picture we have here. Oh, wait. Oh no. It ended. Wait.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
No, I have another one. This picture is the last year of the fashion roundup. And this one here is of someone who is currently on fire right now. The internet this past it was like about a couple weeks ago. She spoke about huh? What'd you say?
It's not Kelly and Conway's daughter, is it? Not Kelly and Conway's daughter, is it?
No. No, I'm not talking about her.
They're
I'm
trying to
talking
use
about
American Idol for
the
ratings.
one, the only. Right. Yeah, that was a hot mess. I'm talking about this girl here. I'm talking about FKA Twigs, who is here on the cover of Elle magazine, and she is singing about the abuse from Shia LaBeouf. And the headline of the article said she thought she was going to die. But she looks flawless on this cover here. Shout out to you, FKA Twigs. Shout out to all the survivors of sexual assault. And she's speaking her truth, Chris.
Mm-hmm. She looks good here, natural beauty. I like the messy blonde hair, the little braids. I always like FKA Twigs. She's a little weird, regardless of her music and music style and all that good stuff. And I like weird. So Dawn Charlotte with a new album in April, hallelujah. And Bjork and all these other girls, she kind of fits in that same box with them. Just outside the box in regards of music and music performance. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I didn't even know she was looking forward to Elle, so I would definitely check this article out and you'll probably see me post the highlights of that drive.
Yes, there you go. And that wrap the fashion roundup here on Wednesday Night Kiki. Guys, remember to follow us at Wednesday Night Kiki on our socials at WNKIKITV. And before we wrap up this show here, I have two more things to throw out. It's going to be some quick topics here. So, Chris,
yes.
I want you to fill everyone in about this situation with Miss Nina Bonina Brown and Nick. Please explain this.
Lord Jesus. Wait, do we have a clip?
But I do have the story.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, wait, you have the story? Okay, so we'll fill you in. So, apparently, I don't have the details in front of me, so you have the story. But I don't know. I saw, I was on Twitter, and I happened to see people tweeting and commenting, stating that Nina Bonina Brown, what she said was a bit transphobic. That sort of thing, because she made a comment about not needing to tuck. And I said, because as you all know, Gottmik is a trans male. She was born female and transitioned into a male who does drag. So people feel that a lot of things that Gottmik was, about Gottmik was a bit insensitive. And when I watched the thing, I did cringe over what he said. However, I don't think people should be canceled or, talked down to the way they came in. And Nina, what she said was wrong. It was a little stupid. And we've heard people say things. Like earlier today, I'll say this. There was somebody who I worked with at AMC when there was someone by the name of, I'm trying to get the name right. I think it was Fallon Fox, who was an MMA fighter who was transgender. And Joe Rogan apparently had said something like that Fallon is a man. And I saw that when I worked with Rogan and shared it with the comment, agree. I didn't get the benefit of the doubt. I just blocked her. I was like, oh no, we're not doing that. Because if you're going to be friends with myself and you see that I write a lot of stuff about pro-trans stuff on my page, you are not going to come on here and start spewing transphobia and by saying agree. Meaning you agree that at the end of the day, a trans person is the gender that they were born and not who they decide they're in the wrong body, so they want to make the transition and change themselves into the body they feel they should be. So if you're going to come at it from that standpoint, I can't be friends with you. I don't give a fuck. Like, you're done. You're gone. That's it. So right. don't even give you a chance off of that. Like, I don't even go up in the DMs or watch you say it. I'm not even debating. It's not up for debate. I'm done with you. It's just that simple. That's just something I have a no bullshit policy with. You're not going to come at anybody in the community with your little comments, and I got to sit and have a teacher moment. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm 2021. Bitch, you should know better. Like I said earlier, Google is your friend. So, for me to saying this, it just hurt me. It's definitely something we should talk about. Now, do you have you said you have the article in front of you. What are the details in case I missed anything?
So basically, it says here this is from Pop Buzz saying that well, it said kind of what you said. Remember that you aren't defined by a few mean comments. And I believe that's what Got Mick has kind of alluded to. But yeah, just Nina Bonina said exactly what you said, something to the illusion of tucking and whatnot. And Papa's here says, if I would throw another clip of Nina joking about the lyrics Got Mick wrote for her verse and congratulations. The lyrics go, Got Mick born a girl, baby, was told that I can do drag, knew I had something to prove, now you're gonna lose. After a fan said that Got Mick Tuck was always on point, Nina said, you know he got a lot of stuff to talk. In the words of Got Mick was born a girl. So yeah, that's what kind of started the whole situation. And Got Mick has I believe like already accepted the apology, giving Nina Bonina the time to learn. As you said, I don't think need to be canceled either. And I think it's a dynamic of like, people think because they're drag queens and gay men and gay women that we understand that dynamic of the transgender / pansexual / non-binary, that whole community, like that's a part of our community. Like all of us, even myself, like I'm not the most wise when it comes to pronouns, and that's why the first intent when any of these type of situations is to listen to what the they say. Like if someone says I he, she, they, pansexual, whatever it is, you consideration. And I think like I said, people have to stop assuming that we all are aware of the idiosyncrasies of everyone and stuff like that. Like we have a lot of learning to do, and I hope Nina Bonina can learn from this. I remember back when Carmen had some issues back when Carmen Carrera said some things, and now Carmen Carrera is trans. So
yeah, I saw that Carmen Carrera did an interview on Joseph Shepard's another YouTuber. He interviews a lot of drag race girls and they spoke a bit about I don't know if it was I don't know because he's been posting old clips that he did of interviews. I don't know if it was recent that he spoke to her or if it was an old clip about the transphobia that he is accused RuPaul's drag race of being, and how he said that because there was and then he finally addressed it, because I remember saying this. I was like, wait a minute, you had all this beef with drag race. Why did I see you when I was doing press at Drag Race 2 years ago, the New York one? Why did I see you there? And doing all this other stuff. And she said that she answered the question. She went and said that she was there because she had said all these things, and she was there to meet with RuPaul to see if they can come to a common understanding and be more open to more trans inclusion on the show. And so she was trying to get, disregard all the negative stuff that had plagued the show in the past, and she was trying to grow and be a better person. So she was coming at it from that standpoint. Then I was like, okay, I understand. Like, you're trying not to be very, with it because you got she-male that was a problem, and all these other little like play on words that they felt is kind of dangerous. To me, I thought it was a cute play on words. You said she-male because it was based off Tyra male and she-male being a woman who dresses a man. So I got the whole thing because it's kind of been a play on words in our community, and our community has always been about camp and bordering on the line of offensive. But then people get very sensitive and overly political, and they try to put all these different things in there, and it takes away from the overall let's not take ourselves serious standpoint, which I think is where RuPaul was just coming from that. And I guess Ru has to realize that, you know what, people aren't as sensitive, and what you deem as camp and funny, you have a dark sense of humor. I have a dark sense of humor, so I get it. Like my view, like I like a twisted joke, or you know, people say I love an offensive joke, but what I like, other people aren't really like, and you have to be mindful of that, especially when you're on a mainstream platform. The mainstream don't know how to take a joke; they can barely take a dig. So, you gotta worry. You just gotta watch what it is that you put out there. So yeah, they're trying to come up with ways that. I kind of wish, like, to me, when I watch Drag Race, I kind of wish you would just go, ooh, girl, and left it at that. Like, you kept that one, ooh, girl. Like, if you did something like that and get the girl into the screen, instead of cheating, I won't even have hers. I get that shit. I wish you just did it. So everybody knows, like, that's the alarm that goes off and everybody comes to watch. But I am producing the show because they do what they do, and it is what it is. And to wrap this whole thing up, kudos to if this whole thing moved on, and for Nia Bonita Brown, this is a teachable moment for Nia, where it's like, you know, the whole making a joke about, you know, what I guess they felt was transphobic. You gotta watch it because, yeah, at the end of the day, people tend to think like we're all one big happy ending. Gay people make transphobic jokes. Well, they make jokes that are very insensitive to the trans community and don't even acknowledge the trans community as we should, because we're so wrapped up in our own cis male bullshit. So we just got to be mindful of other people that are a part of our community and not neglecting them. Because, you know, God knows that somebody who is new and rare and different in the community, and people. I don't know if she's gonna win. I don't know if she's gonna make top 4, but she's definitely bringing it. So I don't know. That's all I gotta say.
Well, I definitely agree with you. I believe that, you know, curve. You know, I think that's the moral of today's episode. I have a lot going to do, you know, and that's what life is about, you know. When cancel culture, which is a big topic right now, it's about just taking control of back of your purse, like the pocketbook, like, you know, we make who they are. So if someone is doing something that you don't want to support, you don't have to, whether it be financially or your time being you know, putting on the show, you know, whatever it may be. You make that decision, for someone who isn't canceled to deal with, because it's people telling you, holding you accountable when you have the right to do that yourself, doing it. So it goes both ways. No, I agree with what you're saying, and let's hope that everyone else can take that with you know, the same attitude, because if not, it's going to transpire into something, you know, where I don't know if we want to go in that direction, because social media could be a very dark place, you know. So hopefully, because I like the RuPaul Drag Race timeline, so hopefully, like, it doesn't turn into something sour. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, I don't want to, but a lot of these, you know, these Drag Race fans, y'all could be a little vicious. It's kind of like Bob had said when I was watching him talk about the whole cherry pie situation. He said that the whole drag race is something nothing like he's ever experienced. Like they have really fan base. Like you got people, you know, these other people. The drag race fans, they're just a whole nother animal. And the way they come at you when it comes to certain things, it's crazy. So, yeah, I'm sure Nina is sorry, and you know she does say a lot of things about people when she recaps the show. I just wonder when the fan asked if she has a really good tuck, is he aware that she's a trans man, or was he also playing into making a joke?
I doubt it. So yeah, finally, I want to end on. So guess who is trending in the atmosphere, honey? One of the many people that we can't stand because of her bun, honey.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, she's trending because of that hairstyle, honey. The girls are carrying.
I'm lying. Hate about her. Hold up.
Rightfully so. So she is in the news again for that hairstyle. Shout out to HollywoodLife.com real quick for this story. One of the viewers of The View saying here after the episode aired, saying it's called Fashion Girl. Look it up. Everyone started throwing emojis. Someone else said, can a bitch experiment with hair pieces? It's a pandemic. I don't have that much to entertain me anymore.
Meanwhile, she has a whole husband and baby. She don't have nothing to entertain her anymore.
I don't know. It's crazy. It is crazy. But the hair says it all. Nutmeg in a bun, and no one wants none of it, honey.
I'm like, is she auditioning for the street make?
I don't know. All I know is she's a nut, and that is all.
I don't know if she has been experimenting.
Yeah, let's wrap up this show.
She's been doing a lot of that for the past couple.
She has, yeah. She's bored. Yeah, she's bored. That's exactly what it is. She's bored, and the girls are reading her. Guys, we'll be back next week for a whole new episode of Wednesday Night Kiki. If you guys want more of Chris Avalon, you guys can follow him at Chris Avalon OFFI1, or you can go to Trump TRVB for more. Yeah, and you will be back Saturday, right, Chris, for a whole new On the Line or not?
I might. It depends on if there's some interesting topic out there. I might go on because I haven't in 2 weeks, and I've had some people asking me, and I'm gonna put up some shows, especially when me and Lindsay gonna go back on to do a little something. But our show that we're doing is launching in April, so we got to work all that out, and I got to work out my schedule. But we got to work show that we're doing together is going to be on Monday nights. We're going to official late night weekly talk show.
Right.
But and then on the line, like, so I want to jump on real quick and talk about some stuff. So we're going to be doing on this Saturday. There's a couple of short videos and things of that nature. So yeah, we'll talk about that. I know the Mortal Kombat trailer is coming out tomorrow, so maybe I'll do a quick analysis of that. A couple of little hot topic situations that's coming out. So yeah, you'll be seeing more of me in the next couple of weeks. I don't know. I just got to take a mental health break for a couple of episodes because it's just been a lot going on. It's starting to get warm and things. I don't know when that's coming. Oh wait, we had a warm day yesterday. Half the day. It was actually nice outside. Then the temperature dropped real quick. But yeah, you'll probably see a lot more on the line this week to answer your question.
All right, guys. Yes, that answers the question, honey. Make sure to follow Wednesday Key. Make sure you guys can tweet us here, at our handles here. But that is the show, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Hola. Hola, bye. Hola. Hola, bye.
Ha!
Mess and this, that, and the other. You want to see them do better. What can you do when her staff or Warren are afraid to confront her and do what they can do to get her the help that she needs? I guess the executives over at Fox or Dem the Mercury are going in and really get in that ass and have her straighten up and fly right. What did on Monday? They probably told her, honey, if you don't get it together, you were about to lose your job. You were about to lose your job. What they told her, bitch, you about to lose your job. You keep it up. What was the we have the tweet of when DJ Booth responded and somebody went, oh, there it is. Oh, she look good. Damn, how you doing, Wendy? But we the DJ Booth tweet where I remember somebody comment, oh, DJ Booth's bitter for commenting. Mm-hmm. First of all, he was tagged in the comment and he responded. Yes, everybody is whether they can or will not respond. But if you're going to tag me in something, and if I got an opportunity, I'm going to say what needs to be said. I don't work for her no more.